Detroit coach Monty Clark said he had never been so humiliated as in the Monday night loss to the Jets. But he didn't have to change Billy Sims, just give him the ball. The 15th time Sims has gone over 100 yards rushing in a brief career. And the Silver Rush defense was back. 9 sacks of Green Bay quarterbacks, 4 by Doug English. Yes, the defense was back. And the starting quarterback is Gary Danielson, and he found the mark too. 30-10, Detroit over Green Bay in Green Bay. And the thoughts about playoffs for the first time for Detroit since 1970. Bud Grant called it the worst half of football the Vikings had ever played. And what made it worse, it was against Baltimore. But at halftime, a few well-chosen Bud Grant words, and the Vikings came out to play football. Kramer to Galbraith. And remember, Tommy Kramer can get hot. He is really a great streaky quarterback. And then Kramer quickly setting up to the silent one, Sammy White. And 13-10, Minnesota over Baltimore. And so today in the Silverdome, where the Lions have beaten the Minnesota Vikings badly 3 out of the last 4, it's almost playoff time. Each team has a shot. It does feel like playoff time, folks, and welcome to the Silverdome, where earlier this year, Super Bowl 16 was right here on CBS. It's foggy and miserable outside. It is beautiful and perfect for football inside. Look at these standings. You talk about the playoff atmosphere, here's why. Washington, Dallas are in there, right? Green Bay, Atlanta in probably. Here's the battle. 8 teams left in the battle for those last 4 playoff spots in the NFC, and these 2 teams are head-to-head today in what used to be the old black and blue division. Over 80,000 tickets have been sold, and we're ready to go too. I'm Tom Brookshire. I used to play defense for Philadelphia. This fellow next to me played 200 games of defense for Detroit, so he's sort of back home too. What about the defense, though? Detroit's the best against the rush in the NFC, but actually Minnesota doesn't move the ball on the ground very much anyway.
This game will be decided on defense, Brookie. It seems like it always has in the past. There have been a few high-scoring games, but whoever comes out and hits and plays the best defense will win this one. That's the way it'll be today. Bud Grant throws the ball a lot more than he used to. He's taken advantage of the rule changes in the National Football League. Billy Sims will have to be stopped by Minnesota. I'm excited.
Well, you're also back home after 15 years wearing number 55. Do you have any special thoughts doing your first broadcast back here from this great ball yard?
Well, I'll tell you, it's really been great being back. Opportunity to see a lot of people. I have as much respect for the Minnesota franchise, their players, their coaches, and their administration as I do for Detroit, so I want you Minnesota fans to relax. Certainly won't show any favoritism in the booth this afternoon. I'll be totally unbiased, and I will be totally objective, so you can just sit back and relax. And, Brookie, I'll tell you right now who won the coin toss. Are we kicking off to them, or are they kicking off to us?
Well, I think that you can't do any rooting. You have said that the Vikings with Danmar will be kicking off. Detroit has won the toss. And I don't think we're going to have too many no-shows today. The deep men are back there now for Detroit. The deep men, Alvin Hall, of course, who went 95 yards only a week ago, and Robbie Martin. Here's Danmar, and this playoff-type game is underway. Robbie Martin at the 12-yard line, gets to the 26, a pileup. Boy, I look for a good ball game today. Really a good one. A 16-yard return by Martin. And here's the offense for Detroit. Gary Danielson, now the starter and seemingly in control. Billy Sims, one of the great players maybe of all time. Dexter Bussey, Mark Nichols, and Leonard Thompson is in there now. They'll be in and out, bringing the plays in. Dietrich Elias Fowler, the young guy. Greco again starting at right guard. Keith Dorney, one of the best at tackle. And Big Dave Hill back at his normal tight end position. He might be hungry today. Here's Danielson. Remember, he's only been in action for the last couple of weeks, really, as the starter. Straight handoff, Sims out over the 30-yard line.
Brookie, they started with David Hill in the offensive backfield that time, the tight end, and he was a lead blocker for Sims. They did it against the Packers very successfully last week.
That new 34 look that went in a year ago, here it is. Doug Martin at left end, Charlie Johnson, a great all-pro from the Eagles at nose, and Mark Mullaney at the weak side defensive end spot. Blair, Studwell, Dennis Johnson, and McNeil. They're tough. They're big. And Swain, Teal, Hannon, and Turner, and they may have a few problems if he gets time. This man. Leonard Thompson and Nichols are outside. Inside drive play for you-know-who. Sims again for not a lot. Dennis Johnson, the inside linebacker, making the tackle. Studwell is the leading tackler, number 55. Remember this fella, in the opening game of the year this year, he had over 100 yards passing, pass catching, and rushing against the Rams. He is just an incredible athlete.
Well, they said he hasn't had the real gigantic day yet this season that they expect from him, and today could be the day. I hope it is anyway.
About a 208-pounder, and he's a glider. He can shift gears on you about 9 times. Here's Danielson's first play on 3rd and some. He's got a lot of time. Oh, it's intercepted by Martin. Intercepted by number 75. That's Holloway, pardon me, the pass rushing defensive end in the...
Randy Holloway made a great play, Brookie. Double great play on that. Billy Sims was flaring. Holloway hit him as he came out of the backfield. Watch Sims come out of the backfield. Look at left of your picture. You'll see Holloway, number 75, give a blow to Sims if he's still in the picture right there. No, he'll be out of it. So Sims didn't get down in the pattern. That's what threw Danielson off balance. Then he threw it out here, and Holloway was right there to boot. A great play by number 75.
And actually, Dorney had nobody to block. Holloway dropped off of that 4-man rush. A big interception and a great opportunity for this offensive ball club for Bud Grant. A few boos, huh? That's part of football, isn't it? There's Ted Brown inside, down inside the 20 to about the 18-yard line. Here's the Minnesota offense. Tommy Kramer, he can be brilliant. Be very careful with him. Ted Brown, I think one of the most underrated backs around. Galbraith, a good catching big man. Ahmad Rashad and Terry LeCount in, as Sammy White will not play today. Steve Riley, Huff, Swilly, Hamilton, Irwin, big and good pass blockers. And Joe Sensor, who caught 81 balls a year ago at tight end. 2nd down 9. 2 runs in a row. That's unusual, and Brown gets inside the 15. They said they couldn't run the football.
Well, I think they can. They have a lot of confidence in that offensive line of theirs, with Swilly and Hamilton and Huff up the middle.
Here's the Silver Rush defense. Purifori, William Gay, Doug English, who Johnny Michaels, the Minnesota coach, says one of the best defensive linemen he's ever seen, and Big Bubba Baker, who can really sack. Harrell playing in place of Cobb, Fantetti, and the veteran Stan White, who's really a coach on the field. Watkins is a rookie, Hunter the veteran at the corners. Kramer's first pass on 3rd and 5 off Brown's hands at about the 11-yard line as the rookie Watkins made a good defensive play.
2nd week in a row now, Watkins has started on the corner, number 27. Last week, the first pass they threw out his way against the Packers, he knocked it down. Today, he defensed it.
He had a lot of good luck against Lofton and Jefferson, but that's always enhanced when you have a good pass rush. It's not bad breaking in as a rookie when you got guys that can beat on that quarterback.
Well, they picked up 9 sacks last week against Green Bay. That'll help.
The numbers on Rick Danmeyer, who used to be a nose tackle for Sioux Falls College, if I'm not...
180-pound nose tackle.
Dills is holding the backup quarterback. It's from the 23, a 33-yard attempt. It's off to the right. This is a very fast artificial surface. Should be good to kick from.
Man, he's used to it because they play on it at home, but this was wide right. Not much pressure. He just shanked it to the right side. We're still even.
That was the 10th interception Danielson suffered a few moments ago, and the 10th interception that the Viking defense has come up with, but no score. Danmeyer's 33-yard field goal attempt right by about a yard or so. Very interesting stat there. Gary Danielson, the Purdue Boilermaker, played in the old WFL for a while. He's a good kid, and he is the quarterback. Here's the toss back to Sims. Oh, the flags are down. Looked like somebody for Detroit might have moved a little early. Sims has been hit hard now on all 3 of his carries. McNeil making the tackle.
It was an excellent play by McNeil, the right side linebacker. He closed down. David Hill was to kick out.
Minnesota jumped. It's Bob Frederick, the official. I'll set those officials so we know which zebra we're working with today. Bob Frederick, umpires John Keck, head linesman Jerry Bergman, line judge Bob Beeks, back judge Bill Swanson, the side judge is Gary Lane.
Defense, offside, number 54.
Field judge is Don Hakes.
He's got a nice voice, bro.
Yeah, Frederick, he's an old friend of mine from Colorado. He's just a wonderful person. Except on game day, some players feel. 1st down and 5. Motion toss back to Sims. The flags are down again. Charlie Johnson, the nose tackle, number 65, made a quick move, but let's see if it was caused. Why would anybody want to be an official? But you know something? They love their life, don't they? They love their life. Why, I don't know.
Well, they get to travel on weekends, I think.
That doesn't mean they're unhappy family people. It just means they like to travel a lot, right? Yeah, there's the list that I gave you just a moment ago. Right now, Bob Frederick is discussing things. It's going to be against Charlie Johnson, perhaps the nose tackle.
Danielson has been demonstrative.
Defense number 65.
With his calls. They're getting close to a head bob out there a couple times, and I think Matt Blair went over and complained about it.
There's Charlie Johnson, my old Colorado Buffalo. He's just flat eager, I guess. It's a first down, though, and they haven't had to fire a shot. Here's Detroit now going. As Danielson's going deep all the way. Oh, it's a great catch at the 20-yard line by Leonard Thompson. Leonard Thompson has a touchdown, a 70-yarder. A great throw by Danielson and a catch by Thompson. Longest touchdown pass of the 82 season, and nobody deserves to be pumped up more than Leonard Thompson. He's had his problems lately.
He's a flyer, converted running back. He was a running back in college. He's got the speed, and you saw it. And how about Danielson? What you got to like about him, coming out and throwing an interception on that first play, the first pass attempt, forgetting about it, coming back and throwing that bomb.
The fourth touchdown for Danielson, none more dramatic. The crowd went crazy here in the Dome. It's down. Eddie Murray's placement is good. Wow. Lightning has come through the ceiling of the Silver Dome.
Play action, and you'll see right here how much attention they pay to Billy Sims, number 20. There's a handoff. Look at Studwell, number 55. He lurks in there, but they're not going short. They're going deep here. Thompson against Willie Teal. He's got him by 2 steps. The ball is right on the money, and the Lions are out in front by a score of 7-0.
A great throw and catch. And, of course, Leonard had been suspended, fined a little bit for his altercation. Right now it's 7-0 Detroit. Two 5-yard penalties and a 70-yard blockbuster. And there's number 39 right through your graphic there that made the catch, Leonard Thompson. It's 7-0. And Eddie Murray will kick off from the 35. This guy's one of the great kickers in pro football. He drives this one very, very deep. Jarvis Redwine in the end zone. The former Cornhusker gets out to the 22, and there's a stack. Calicut down quickly. A 24-yard return. Elsewhere, there's some action that's almost as feverish as this game here. Philadelphia with an interception by Richard Blackmore on top of the Oilers, 7-0. Cleveland on top of Pittsburgh, 3-0. It's always a battle, isn't it? It's always brutal. Two cities, two towns, two teams just flat don't like each other. Much the same with Detroit and Minnesota. Here comes Tommy Kramer, the quarterback. Rashad is split to the left. Sensor is to the left. Strong formation left. Here's the play-action pass by Kramer going to the outside. Rashad has it at the 36, and a beautiful move by Ahmad Rashad, an inside takeoff move to the outside.
I think it was actually a zone to that side, too. Not double coverage, but a zone, and he caught it in between the two defensive backs. Kramer here now, straight drop back. Rashad ran a slant in. You'll see him coming inside and move it back out. Number 28 cuts it back out right in front of the safety who was coming over. And there's your completion.
Eddie Kayat, the defensive coach, said that Kramer moves very well. This year he's healthy, and he's a very hard quarterback to pin down when he's moving well. First down for the Vikings. Inside toss play, now back outside. Galbraith has it. Galbraith picks up a couple of yards just over the 35-yard line as Alvin Hall sticks him hard there.
Almost a sucker play here on Dave Purifori, the defensive left end. Now you'll see him over on the right side. You'll see a trapper come out to him, and watch Purifori go down inside to play that trap block. They kind of suckered him into playing the trap and pitched outside. You can call it a misdirection, but it's kind of a sucker play.
A toss, trap, toss. Pretty good looking play, though, to make somebody play honest, maybe. Pickup of 3 yards. 2nd down and 7. Back to what he does best. Pass. Kramer across the middle. Caught. 46-yard line. Galbraith coming out of the backfield. The former Missouri running back is a good pass receiver.
Well, he made 74 catches in 1978. Former New Orleans player. He's a great athlete. We're talking about Galbraith as you look at Tommy Kramer. Kramer bothered with a bad knee last year, as Brookie said, limited his mobility in the pocket, but that was one of the things that really concerned the Detroit defense, was the fact that Kramer can now move around and slide around back there, avoid the rush, and get a second look at the defense. They have a lot of respect for him.
Team only averages 80 yards rushing, much because they don't like to rush. They might as well throw it. Bud Grant says the rules are there to throw. 3rd down and a yard. Inside, Brown, but by a lot. Brown against the short yardage defense gets to the 46-yard line.
Number 51, Jim Huff, leading that one again, Brookie. That was a takeoff of the play that we looked at before, that fake toss thing, and you'll see number 51, Huff, pull from his left guard position and lead the way. He's right to the left of Kramer, number 9. Watch him turn up in the hole and get a block. And that was a springer for Ted Brown.
Good block by Irwin, the big right tackle, too. He buried Purifoy, didn't he? Good call, Wayne. 1st and 10. These ball clubs look like they've got the pitch today. Handoff. Brown trying to dance outside, being chased. And he's down at the 48-yard line. Good defense. The safety man showed up very quickly. Stan White helped make the tackle, but Alvin Hall was up quickly, too.
Stan White made a good play on that, Brookie, because he took it on with the correct shoulder. You'll see him come from out of the screen here on the left-hand side and close it down with the inside shoulder. Number 52 bounced back out, and that made the back belly out a little bit.
Lost there. Stan White, of course, the player representative, a very high-profile man for pro football during the strike, but he's playing well. He's like a coach on the field. 2nd down and 12. LeCount in motion. Inside handoff. Galbraith explodes through a hole to the 36-yard line.
I'll tell you, number 51, Jim Huff, is an animal out there today. He just took out Bubba Baker and stood him straight up on that block. A cross block between Riley, the tackle, and Huff, the guard, over on the left side of Minnesota. A big hole. Watch this. They're to the left of Kramer. Riley will come down. Huff will go out behind him. Look at the block on Baker. Boy, you can't beat that. And who said Minnesota can't run? They see something today.
Old-fashioned cross block, huh? Tackle down, guard out, and they split them. Sometimes when you're looking for the pass all the time, you can get hurt playing defense. It's 3rd and less than a yard. Brown, 1st down and more. Wrapped up there. James Harrell.
I mean, this is the way Minnesota used to play when they had Osborne and Brown. They'd come out and they'd almost tell you what they were going to run because of the way their backs would cheat up a little bit, and you'd know it, and you still couldn't get them stopped.
But, you know, Bud Grant last night was telling us about how passing's great. You can't hit the receivers anymore. Tight ends are fast, big guys. Then he comes out and decides to be facile and adjust his thinking, huh?
You see that 23-7 against Detroit? I had a lot of respect for that man.
Some of those were yours, huh?
A lot of them.
1st down. 1st down pass play. Play action. Kramer. Oh! Hits the tight end at the 26, who was then hit, and Joe Senser couldn't hang on to it. He really got shelled.
They've been successful running, so that time they came back with play action. And the Detroit linebackers really didn't buy it. Fantetti, number 57, makes a good play on this one. He bothers the coaches all the time, says he wants to stay in on passing downs. And he got a hand up right there and made a pretty good play.
He is a wild man. He has the typical eyes that a linebacker has. You know what I mean? Burn a hole through you. He's out of there now, and the pass rush is on. Nickel defense faking the blitz on 2nd down the lot. Kramer with time. The shot can't hold on at the 6-yard line as he's broken in half by number 43. Latimer making a good stop.
Latimer and James Hunter, 28, put a sandwich on him. And Ahmad was open earlier. He was open down in between zones, and Kramer just didn't see him soon enough.
Looked like they had two receivers in the same area,
There's
too.
the end of it right here. Hunter coming in from this side, and he's the one that really applies the cruncher, number 28. So Rashad is down and hurt, and Detroit leads it by a score of 7-0. Ahmad Rashad is still down at the 5-yard line, and he's being administered to by the Minnesota training crew, and he did take a shot. Now we look right here from an end zone view. You'll see Rashad come in a picture at top left of your screen. He was open a long way downfield. They would have got the ball to him about 10 yards or 5 yards sooner. It may have been 6 points. With his concentration, he didn't know where he was, didn't know where the defensive people were, but they let him know. It was just a tremendous lick he took between Latimer and Hunter.
Rashad, one of the great receivers around, though, has caught 472 before this season and wants to actually maybe come in our business after his career's over.
Well, I think he'll be good. You got to keep in mind now with Rashad going off, Sammy White was injured coming into this ball game. And a white T-shirt right there. So
Sam McCullum will come in now, number 84.
They'll have a veteran to go to anyway, McCullum.
Sammy White is a very smooth pattern runner. I think you miss somebody that runs it the same way all the time. McCullum's in there from Seattle to back to Minnesota. He runs a good pass route, and Grant's glad to get him back. Shotgun time on 3rd and 10. Ball's on the 33. The rush, Kramer drops it, he finds Brown. Brown at the 25, Brown inside the 20. What a move by Kramer to get the ball off.
Boy, isn't that marvelous? That's what they were worried about. That's what so many of the good quarterbacks do now. You talk about Montana's and you talk about Kramer. Those guys, they just make something out of nothing. This is pretty good rush by the Detroit front line and pretty good coverage back there initially. Under pressure, watch him move around, get a second look. Finds the receiver on the linebacker, White. And it's a big first down for Minnesota. Great play by Tommy Kramer.
18-yard catch by Brown. A good pass by the man from Rice. His brothers were all quarterbacks, so he had to be able to set up fast around the house. First down and 10. That's Brown in motion. Inside drive, Galbraith. Inside the 15, and Kramer's complaining to the official. Bubba Baker came through a little bit late and maybe took a shot at the quarterback.
Bud Grant told us last night that he wasn't concerned at all when Tommy Kramer took over at quarterback for him in place of Fran Tarkenton. He knew that he was going to be a good one, and had come up in a system at Rice. He said he was behind a lot when he was at Rice, so he got to throw the ball a lot in college. He says it's really only in his 4th year as a starter. It's his 6th year in the league, and he's still going to get better.
I love the way Bud Grant called Francis, right? He said, well, Francis could do this and could do that. Kramer going for it. LeCount has it. It's a touchdown with a great grab by number 80. There won't be too much celebrating in the stands for that one. Jimmy Hunter had him covered pretty well. It's a great throw again.
Terry LeCount, who got the start today because of the injury to Sammy White. And when we talked to Ahmad Rashad last night, he said, you know, LeCount might have an advantage against these Detroit backs. They don't know him that well. They might overlook him a little bit. He ran a great pattern that time on James Hunter and made one of the best catches you'll see all year. He pulled that thing down with one hand.
The 6th catch of the year for LeCount. He used to be a quarterback back in college down in Miami. Here's Dan Meyer's kick. This one splits it. We got a new game. New game between old teams, old friends, and really old opponents. And these two squads don't like each other much.
Well, Detroit has a tendency to blitz a lot down here inside the 20. They didn't that time, although it looked like single coverage over here. Hunter on LeCount. He got turned around a little bit, and watch this one-handed grab by Terry LeCount. Hauls it down right at the back of the end zone. The Vikings score. They're on the board, and it's 7-7 here at the Silverdome.
Hello there. There's the drive. 75 yards, 12 plays. Look how much time used. 6:41. That's pretty good ball control. Dan Meyer kicking, Robbie Martin back to take it, and Alvin Hall. Both are dangerous return men. Kicking to Martin away from Hall. Martin at the 5. The 20. 25, that's all she wrote.
Once again, that catch by Terry LeCount from Minnesota. Hunter's not in too bad a shape, Tom. He's about a step back there. The ball is just thrown right on the money. Look at this, pulls it down with one hand. That's good camera work, guys. Almost as good as the catch. But you're not going to see a better catch than that probably today.
And a good point that he doesn't play enough to where you really have a complete book on him. You know, he's smaller than Rashad, a little bit shorter, quicker perhaps. There he is back there, number 80. What a catch. 7-7 tie. 4:49 left in this first quarter. Inside drive. Dexter Bussey, the first catch. Mark Mullaney.
Also on the tackle, Mark.
There's big Monty Clark on the sidelines.
Second and 9.
He's the one on the left with the charts and all.
Well, this team has really confused him, hasn't he? He had told us on Friday he didn't really quite have a handle on this team, how to handle him yet. He said he's done everything. He's patted him on the back, smiled at it, intimidated him.
He did all those
Cut
things
guys.
for us. He scared me talking to him the other day. He is fierce. Second down and 10.
Check it out.
Linebackers are calling out their defensive zones like they know. Danielson overthrown, almost intercepted by number 45. Tommy Hannon had a pretty good shot at the interception, but it bounced off of Freddie Scott's hands.
Danielson high with that pass as Scott came open, down about 20 yards deep over the middle.
Pretty good blocking job, though. Not too much pressure on Danielson.
Good job up front. Starting two new guys last week against Green Bay. You see Greco, number 67, a right guard. Don Greco and Chris Dietrich at left tackle.
The Bruce brothers. Here's the Giants score. The Giants on top of Washington. 7-0 also in the first period. There's a big playoff type game. That's Scott Bruner to Johnny Perkins for that Giant touchdown. Flags are flying. Man we saw standing next to Monty Clark, John Bruner, of course, is Scott Bruner, the Giant quarterback's father. He does the signaling of plays and helping.
False start. Number 67 on the offense.
That's Greco, one of the Bruce brothers. Now Bruner is right behind that standard there. You can't quite see him. Of course, Clark is a big guy to stand in the shadow of. Danielson, the quarterback. What a strike. A 70-yard touchdown bomb. The ball had to travel 58 yards in the air. The mark-off against Greco.
First time I met Gary Danielson, Brookie, I was playing here in Detroit, and he was a quarterback at the neighborhood high school down the street, coached by a real good friend of mine. He's always been a real good kid, an intelligent kid, a hard worker, and it's good to see him here playing for Detroit.
Well, he's a wonderful young guy, I agree. Here's Billy Sims. He's got a blocker out in front of him. Sims leaves him and gets back to perhaps the line of scrimmage as Mullaney finally tackled him from behind.
Boy, Mullaney played a whole posse off over there to make that play. Number 77, the big right defensive end. On a sure passing down like that, a lot of times the defensive end gets upfield and can't make that play, but he strung that one out.
Skladany, one of the better kickers that's ever been around this league as far as I'm concerned. He can put ice on it. Of course, not indoors in the dome where we are. Eddie Payton, who used to play, of course, for Detroit, now playing for Minnesota. Here's Skladany. Good snap. This is a rifle. It's a little bit low. Payton may have a return. Oh, hit immediately. Leonard Thompson made a legal hit covering the punt.
That's a great play. You know, he was the one that you know, on Thanksgiving hit Leon Bright for the Giants and was fine, but that's been his specialty all season long, and he just did it again here this afternoon.
Eddie Payton doesn't put up the fair catch signal, and Thompson does a pretty good job of covering this.
Well, great timing. He got in front of the people that were chasing him, slowed down, came under control right here, and made a fine play. They said he wasn't as aggressive last week after being fined, but he's bounced back here today, that's for sure.
I'd say he has a touchdown and a good tackle on the punt. Kramer, two-step drop outside. McCullum making his first catch. Sam McCullum used to play here back through the great division championship days of the 70s with Francis.
Ricky, that's going to be an area over there, I would imagine, that the Vikings will go to a lot today. The rookie Watkins playing over there, and he's going to play a little bit loose no matter who's lining up across him, because when you're a rookie, the thing you're concerned about is getting beat deep, so they'll probably be able to go short on him a lot over there. And
then try to get him to bite one time for a bomber, huh?
But you know, it's a smart way to play when you're a rookie on that corner. It takes a lot of those to beat you.
First and 10, the ball on the 41. A 7-7 tie, 2:26 left. Misdirection, inside handoff as Tony Galbraith gets into Detroit territory.
Galbraith made a good adjustment at the line of scrimmage, and I'm going to give Jim Huff a game ball already. Number 51, you see right there in your picture, he pulled and made a great block. One of the strongest guys on this team. He is a bulker, wins that NFL arm wrestling contest every year. Number 51, teamed with Studwell to win it last year for the Vikings. Been a starter since 1979, and he hits the weight room a lot.
I talked to Johnny Michaels, the line coach, last night, and he said, you know, you forget how to block running plays in rhythm, and sometimes we get out of that. And he said, we think our guys can do it, and nobody likes to do that except offensive linemen. They love the rushing game because they're on the attack more than they are taking, you know. All right, first down. Kramer with the Vikings moving just a little bit. Good run by Galbraith. Inside drive. Ted Brown trying to run the veer. No chance. Fantetti and Stan White both right in there, the linebackers.
Also on the tackle.
Don't forget, on Christmas Day, our little present to you from CBS, the 45th Blue-Gray game from Montgomery, Alabama, and, of course, the Sun Bowl from El Paso, Texas. North Carolina, the guys in the blue, against the people in orange and white from Texas. Should be a great one, and, of course, there's nothing like El Paso, Texas for the Sun Bowl.
You've had some grins down there, haven't you?
I can verify, yes. It's very hard on you, but it's a great time.
Just to carry tequila in your pocket.
Second down 9. Kramer back to throw. He's got a lot of good blocking. Almost intercepted by the underback, the nickelback, number 26, Hector Gray, who had taken that short zone away.
Broken out by Gray.
They're going to call a little holding, looks like. There's a flag down in the pass pocket.
We talked about the interior lineman, the left guard, Jim Huff, number 51. From Minnesota. As you look at him right there, here's what it's like playing in that middle. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you get hit. Doug English right there working on him. Huff stays in front, straightens him up, does a great job on him. And he got a finger in the eye for it.
That is awful.
Isn't that fun?
Number 78.
Riley, the offensive left tackle, was holding Bubba Baker. But Huff was just trying to keep Doug English's finger out of his eye. Sounds fair to me.
I'll tell you what, a lot of those guys should wear goggles like Kareem does.
Second down and 19. Sometimes the Vikings like second and long or third and long. The draw play to Ted Brown. Brown to the 46-yard line in a hurry. North Carolina State's Teddy Brown. I think he's a great running back. Latimer made the tackle there.
No question. When we talked to Ahmad Rashad last night, said that number 23 Ted Brown was the key to their offense. And Bud Grant said, you know, we got to figure out ways to get him the ball, just like Detroit's got to figure out ways to get Sims the ball. Good job up front. Of course, the Detroit defensive line expecting pass, and they're going on a pass rush right there. But 23's got the ball going the other way on it.
30 seconds left in the first quarter. Vikings into the Lion territory again, and it's shotgun. Everybody's out. Bubba Baker putting pressure on. Ball is thrown. McCollum has it at the 25. Fumbles, and I believe Brown got it and stepped out of bounds. Vikings may keep the football if it's called a catch. Jimmy Hunter forced the fumble. They're going to call the catch good. Somebody is down there. The Lion is on the ground. That made some contact with McCollum. Well, Ted Brown comes around the ball, just automatically gets near where it is, doesn't he?
That was a great throw by Kramer, too, because he was getting some pressure, some penetration up front by the defensive line of the Lions. They had a stun on that time, and number 79, William Gay, will loop around from the left side. You'll see him come in the picture, get some penetration right here, get a hand up right in front of Kramer. Kramer throws around it and gets the ball in there. Good concentration by the quarterback.
Remember what Rashad told us yesterday, that Kramer can throw it any way you have to throw it. Sidearm, over the top, soft, hard. That is Hunter. That's James Hunter on the ground that made that tackle. Well, there's a great veteran, 7 years, #1 draft out of Grambling. In fact, the first Grambling grad that Detroit ever drafted.
Said he's having a pretty good year, too. Maybe his best. He was their #1 draft choice, but basically, they've said around here he really hasn't played up to the potential of a #1 draft choice. He's been a good defensive back, but not the great one they thought he could be.
I think moving to the corner may help him, too. They used to have good safety once in a while, didn't they? The other days. I don't know why you'd ever want to go to the corner, but Monty Clark has been down to check on his cornerback. The medical people are there now. You said you saw the training room here at the Silver Dome, and it's fantastic, huh?
You remember those old locker rooms down there at Tiger Stadium, huh? You came in there, I bet.
Only had one spigot, one shower spigot in our whole dressing room that barely worked.
I'm not saying that place is old, but one time I opened up my locker and the Count of Monte Cristo jumped out.
The Giants, with Mosley now kicking a 20-yard field goal. His 19th straight. That's Mosley's 19th straight. Redskins will hang in there pretty tough in that game. Philadelphia, with that interception returned by Blackmore, is still leading 7-0 over Houston. Cleveland and Pittsburgh must be locked in some kind of a snowstorm. Maybe
that's just what I was going to say. When you see the score like that in the second quarter this time of year, you got to figure the weather's not going to be too good for him.
Hunter must have been hit pretty hard. He's just now moving his feet a little bit. 20 seconds left, a 7-7 tie. Detroit with a 70-yard touchdown bomb. Danielson to Leonard Thompson. It was a beauty. They came back, and the Vikes just in a steady way did their thing. And Kramer is 5 of 9 for 84 yards. They're bringing the stretcher. They're rolling it into this ballpark to help Jimmy Hunter. And here's the way it sort of happened. It's part of football. No matter what shape you're in or anything.
Here's the throw again by Kramer under some pressure. And let's see what happens to Hunter. McCollum makes the catch, going towards the sideline and turns it up. Hunter makes a good hit, but he got his hat on the ball, it looked, and that brought it out. But
looked like a
concussion type thing or something like that. It's hard to tell.
Snapped his head back a little bit.
Oh, he got it right on the shoulder pad. That's right. He got his helmet right on the shoulder pad. And a hard object, and it probably did pop his neck back a little bit as a whiplash type thing.
Al Latimer will be the cornerback that's listed at least in the 3 deep behind Jimmy Hunter. It would be a tremendous loss. I can remember one time, of course, guys like Jim David, anybody that's ever played there knows what I'm talking about, when I would hit and sometimes it would burn the bottom of your feet. You know, when the nerve endings on the left side of your body or the brain gets hit, it's not a great thing to have happen, but
Brookie, while we're looking at James Hunter right there, we got word on Ahmad Rashad. He's got a slight back injury, nothing serious, so he's okay. We're not sure whether he'll be back in this one, but they've had him in for x-rays, and they're being very careful right here with James Hunter.
They're being careful with his neck and head. That, of course, is why some people wear those sponge roll collars, so you can't snap it back. Well, he's a fine player, and they're being very, very careful with it. It's not a violent game, it's just a rough game. It's a contact game.
One step further on Rashad, Rookie, he's got a fracture of the transverse process. That's those little knobby things on your back there. That's not serious, they're just a little painful. And he is still in the locker room.
Ahmad Rashad broke in as a running back, Bobby Moore, with the old St. Louis Cardinals, and he told me that the greatest thing that ever happened to him was when he decided to go to the outside and become a receiver and get away from carrying that ball from scrimmage.
He said he thought he could have been a good running back in the National Football League, but he knows for sure he wouldn't have lasted as long as he has at wide receiver.
This is precautionary. They're just making sure he's strapped on the stretcher so he can't move or be jostled, getting him up in that runway and into the dressing room for medical attention. Latimer's right there ready to go. Latimer will talk to Maxie Vaughn, the defensive coordinator, for things to look out for. He's been probably talking to Hunter all week about it anyway.
Even though they're starting a rookie over at the other corner, Latimer has seen some game experience. He's in his 3rd year with the Lions, and he comes in and plays in the nickel situation sometimes, so they're not getting a Ruby in there.
A lot of concern, though. You notice how the other players have all sort of gravitated down that way. A lot of the Lions just to see for themselves how Jimmy is.
Well, you know, Tom, so many things have happened on the football field in the past 10 years or so. And the old theory, you know, winning is everything. It's really not the case anymore. The most important thing in these games is 45 of you go out there and 45 of you come back and just do the best you can.
Someday being able to reach over when you're about our age and still pick up your kids. Talk to them. Vikings, 20 seconds left, a 7-7 tie. And a 1st and 10 on the 25. Inside handoff to Galbraith, who picked up about 4. I am shocked that this #1 rush defensive team is being penetrated like this by the Viking rushing game.
Well, the 2 guards are doing a great job today for Minnesota. That time Wes Hamilton, number 61, the right guard, pulled and got a good block on Bubba Baker.
Well, both teams came in with 3 wins and 3 losses. And a heck of a chance for the playoffs. And after 1 quarter, that's right, Minnesota 7, Detroit 7. We got 3 left.
They're in today's edition.
Well, set that secondary. Al Latimer is at right corner. Jimmy Hunter now has been taken off. The medical people are with him. Hector Gray, Alvin Hall, and Bobby Watkins is the rookie. And they're facing a team that gets into here. Kramer is extremely dangerous. A 2nd down. And 6 on the Detroit 20. 1 back offense. That's Brown. The fake. Kramer going outside. McCullum has it. Steps out at the 10-yard line. A quick turnout. Latimer was there.
Isn't that a smart call? You got the guy over there playing his first play in the ball game after coming in for Hunter. And you know that he's going to be playing a little soft, too, because he doesn't want to get burned for the 6. So they run the cutout in front of him and pick up the 1st down. Now, Tommy, historically in the years playing against Minnesota, and especially Bud Grant, when he was the coach, they get inside the 10, they almost invariably score. They always come up with something, a couple of plays inside the 10 that'll work against you and work well.
Tom Brookshire with Wayne Walker. Wayne will be looking for him. You're right. 1 little trick. 1st and 10. Brown's in motion. Galbraith on a fake trap. Or a trap, gets to about the 8. Good recovery by Detroit defense. Doug English making the tackle.
Doug English.
English might be the best football player on the Detroit team, if you discount number 20, Billy Sims. Definitely the best defensive player. You played with his defensive coach, Eddie Kayat, his defensive line coach, and Kayat talked about English today for about 10 minutes before this game.
Everything, he said. His day off, he comes over and lifts anyway. Even though they told him not to come, he still comes in. 100%. Even when he went into the North Sea drilling for oil, he was pretty good at it. He hit. 2nd down. Inside handoff. Ted Brown gets away and gets inside the 5-yard line. Gay had a pretty good shot at him, but I think Bubba Baker and Fantetti had to finish him off.
And they stay on the ground.
Brings up an interesting call. 3rd and 5.
I'll be surprised if they stay on the ground here. Now is when they bring in, see who they bring in offensively. They come in with a couple of tight ends. Galbraith is coming out.
Leo Lewis is in there, number 87. Small but good. McCown is in the slot to the left. McCullum is to the bottom of the screen. It's to the guy that just came in, number 87, Leo Lewis. The little man from Missouri. Latimer was defending.
Now, Leo Lewis, I know is a favorite of Bud Grant's. Bud played in Canada with Leo Lewis's father.
For the touchdown.
Come in and ran a short post, a slant in that time, and the ball was right there for him.
Second touchdown for Tommy Kramer. LeCount made a great catch for the first touch, and now young Lewis gets his shot. Danmar's kick is good. Wow.
The kick is good.
13:29 left before halftime. The Vikings are rolling on it, 14-7. The second touchdown catch for Lewis. The number 71 yards and 10, 440.
Kramer had both LeCount and Leo Lewis spread out to the left. They both ran the identical patterns. Both ran short posts or slant in. Kramer looked over there right away. He was going to go to either one of them. He went to Lewis, working against number 29, Bruce McNorton, who just came in the ball game. And it was a great throw. That's probably the easiest throw that the quarterback can make, is that inside pattern on the slant in. That's the easiest throw for almost any quarterback, and he really zinged it in there.
There's Leo, number 87, is from Missouri, second year. Second touchdown catch this year. He's not big, he just plays big. Van Meyer now from the 35. Alvin Hall and Martin waiting. Kicking away from Hall again. Martin at the 6-yard line. Martin going outside and hit and drilled at the 26. Keith Nord, the safety man, and a special teamer down to make that tackle. A 20-yard return. Detroit's got to pick up the momentum just a little bit. You feel like they've dropped off a little bit?
You can tell it's just settling into a regular football game now. Emotions were high coming onto the field, and especially after Danielson threw that long touchdown pass. But emotions only take you so far during the course of a ball game, and then you've got to start doing other things to pick it up again. Detroit has not done that.
And this is a fast track. This is a very fast surface. If you're fast, you're really fast in the Silver Dome. 1st and 10, Danielson the quarterback. The play action being rushed. Danielson going to the outside for Leonard Thompson, and just had to rush it a little bit. Got the big rush by number 79. Martin was sort of in his face.
That was more of a timing pattern than what you'll usually see. And Danielson was just a little bit early with it.
The plays are being brought in by Scott or Leonard Thompson from the bench, where Bruner and Monty Clark send them in, and Danielson is the one that has to execute. That's tough sometimes. 1 out of 4, and that one was a 70-yarder. Looking to the tight end. Now Danielson's going to run. He's being dropped. Good rush by Martin, and good coverage on Hill by McNeil.
It was at Al McNeil, the linebacker on the right side, had David Hill, the tight end, out in the flat. Danielson looked over there, nowhere to go. You'll see it's good coverage downfield by the entire Minnesota secondary. Plenty of time initially right here. Danielson looks left, but McNeil is all over David Hill. He's got to come out of there. And Doug Martin falls back in for the sack.
David Hill looks like he's carrying around about 10 or 15 pounds.
It's more than that. I think it's about 20 or 25.
He got covered rather easily by a linebacker that time. Here's the drop back on 3rd and long. He dumps it across the middle. Danielson to the 36 goes Dexter Bussey. 12:30 left before halftime. A 14-7 Viking lead. Short of that first down, obviously. Here come the big fellas, and Danielson off. Skladany for his second punt. How about what Bud Grant said about kickers, that they should have their own game and charge admission to have people just watch them kick. They don't care about the rest of the game.
Yeah, he says he thinks kickers enjoy warming up before the game more than they do the games.
He said they really air it out. They sky the ball all the way to the top of something like the dome here. Here's Skladany. It's a short kick. That's Payton at the 35. Look out. Eddie Payton, the last person is Skladany, and Skladany makes a good tackle at the 36-yard line. Two little men really met head on. Skladany.
A short, low kick that time by Tom Skladany. Payton gets it on the run. The theory of when you're kicking the ball here, you got to make these guys go sideways for it to make the catch. They catch it with their shoulders square coming forward, they're going to cause you some problems. Eddie Payton right here, who used to play for Detroit, makes a great run.
He ran back a big kick against the Vikings a few years ago in '77. In fact, the last one run back against the Vikings, I think. A 36-yard punt, a 35-yard return. Vikings build up some steam before halftime. inside fake, play action. Kramer dumps it outside. Galbraith tries to one-hand it.
Spadini kicks it right here, and he's going to tell right now he doesn't like it. You can see kind of the disgusted look on his face. He's going down in the coverage, plays a little leapfrog, and gets over. But you know what he does, Brookie? He does a pretty good job here. He puts his hat right in the numbers, gets set, gets ready to go, and makes a pretty good tackle here on Eddie Payton.
I noticed some of the Vikings even gave Spadini a little pat, like pretty good job.
He didn't duck his head.
Good run back and a good tackle. Kickers are different, there's no doubt about that. Second down and 10. Shotgun. Everybody's out. Kramer outside. Sam McCullum, 29-yard line. What a valuable acquisition to get McCullum back that knew their system, knew how Bud Grant thought. With his problems at Seattle behind him, Sam is just playing well.
McCullum working on the rookie again. Watkins over on the left side of the Lions defense, making just his second start. Gone deep on him a couple times and caught 2 or 3 in front.
Well, it's tough to play the corner. In the old days, it's impossible to play him now. There's Bobby Watkins. He's a good one.
Well, the Lions like him. They say he has a great attitude to play the cornerback. Doesn't let things bother him too much, but that's just a tough position to step in and play.
Big interception that Watkins made against Green Bay a week ago. But last week you could forget about it.
Yeah, it's a pretty good start, though, for a rookie, isn't it? Come in and play against a team that's got a Lofton and a Jefferson and get an interception and knock 3 passes down and not get burned. That's what happened last week, but this is this week, and it's 14-7.
Golf balls.
Well, rent from Hertz just 6 times and get a 12-inch RCA TV.
Now, hold on there, OJ. Let's let the people decide. Rent from Hertz and choose from the kind of quality gifts you'd expect from number one.
Remember when we used to be number one, Artie?
What do you mean, used to be?
Christmas Day on CBS Sports, a star-studded Christmas package of college seniors, the Blue-Gray All-Star Football Classic. Christmas Day on CBS Sports.
Very few vacant seats at the Silverdome in Pontiac. Over 60,000 sold, and it looks like 55,000 plus showed up. But the crowd rather quiet now as the Vikings have used an Eddie Payton run back of 35 yards to get back in position. They lead 14-7. About 11.5 minutes left. Brewer and Sensor, 2 tight ends in. On third and a couple of yards. Crossbuck, Brown, first down inside the 25. Good call. Let's go to New York City now, where Brent Musburger has some updates. You got it, Brent.
Rookie Soldier Field in Chicago, nasty weather conditions. The Cardinals get down there on a pass, Lomax to Tilley, and then Wayne Moore swings to the outside. 35th career touchdown, breaks the record of John David Crow. Let's go back to Tom.
We've watched those Cardinals. They're certainly playing for that playoff spot, much as the 2 teams we have right here. Everybody's still alive, almost. First down. Handoff to Brown. The flags are thrown in there. I think it's offensive holding.
You know, Brookie, you can talk about game plans and misdirection and things like that. What's happening right now is you see a holding call against Minnesota. What's happening right now is Minnesota's just controlling the line of scrimmage. That white offensive line is blowing the blue defensive line back about 2 yards after the snap every play.
Well, tell me what holding is. I'm not sure what holding isn't anymore.
What did Bud Grant call it last night? He said they play throwdown now.
Take down and throw down. The rules are made for passing.
Offensive holding, number 51.
That's Huff, who's having a pretty good battle with Doug English. Riley, Huff, Dennis Swilley, the Texas Aggie, Wes Hamilton, and Tim Irwin, a giant law student from Tennessee. Pretty good offensive line. First down and 20. Like Kramer may have changed this play. Here comes LeCount. The toss, the weak side, that Brown, who's going to make the corner. has almost run into the wall at the far side of the stadium, right at the CBS banner. I think he got to the 25. Wow.
Lions in their nickel defense that time. They had Roosevelt Barnes come in at linebacker as a nickel linebacker. He's number 54. You see him over on the other side. He's a youngster that hasn't played a whole lot. He only played 1 year of football in college. He was a basketball player at Purdue. He just got tricked here. He's caught up way inside. Number 54, but he's got good speed, and he'll catch up. He'll learn that you got a lot of friends inside and you don't have anybody outside when you play linebacker, Brookie. It's a very simple thing when you're an outside linebacker.
Got to teach those guys where the out of bounds is. The linebackers, they play everywhere, on the track, around the field, or wherever. There's Roosevelt Barnes. A Purdue, a Boilermaker, they call him. It's second down. 14. Kramer, a lot of time to throw it. Finds McCollum, who makes his 5th catch inside the 20 to the 16-yard line. Stan White and Latimer tackling there.
And Brookie, we just got word about James Hunter in the locker room. It is not a serious neck injury, and that's good news.
Oh boy, that is good news. I sort of thought that took a little sting out of the Detroit team when they saw him being carried off, you know. McCollum, the veteran with the experience.
5 catches already here this afternoon. Look at Kramer. Went to 2 or 3 receivers on that play. Went to McCollum first and went off it to the back. That wasn't there and came back to number 84.
And now we've got 3rd and call it 5. LeCount motion left. Brown's out. Going outside. McCollum catches it at the 6-yard line. McNorton was there, but so was Sam. Just getting to the outside and turning outside, getting on the outside and then turning it out.
Picking on the cornerbacks.
And the pass rush can't get there in time. Remember what Bud Grant told us too about Kramer, how that doesn't bother him if he misses 5 in a row, that he'd come back and he'll hit 5 in a row, that he seems to have absolutely no hang-ups.
The best kind of attitude he said a quarterback could have. Interceptions don't bother him, and missing 4 or 5 in a row doesn't bother him.
Bud Grant's a very interesting study. He's got a great sense of humor for somebody they don't think has one. The crossbuck, Ted Brown, storms to about the 3, and then gets into a lot of trouble. Fantetti and Gay.
On the tackle, Gay.
Well, right now the Lions rookie playing the cornerback with 2 rookies. McNorton is a rookie. Watkins a rookie. Minnesota pounds the middle, and then they throw short on the corners.
I think Jerry Burns and Grant all came up with a darn good offensive game plan, though. I feel like they're sort of infrequency, and they're catching the Lions about to play off all the time.
I never got on the field against them when Jerry Burns was their offensive coordinator. I didn't think they had a good game plan.
Good point. Kramer, number 9, healthy this year, and married. Handoff. Power running back, Ricky Young. First time that Ricky's carried the ball and been in the game. Fantetti making another tackle.
On the run, Ricky
Wyoming
Young.
linebacker's a little bit crazy too.
Stopped by Fantetti.
Pretty good linebacker. Real active kid, real intense. Look at those eyes. He was ready to play on Friday when we were talking to him.
I saw him, he was mad because Reagan wants to put that MX thing in Wyoming. He says, you know, he's just a good country boy and likes to hit people. 3rd down and goal. A big play, really. Trailing 14-7. Detroit's got to make a stand here. Roll-out pass. Kramer throwing it back to the far side. What a play and drop. Bob Brewer dropped the ball.
Remember we talked earlier that they always have something down in the bag of tricks when they get inside the 10. That was roll out right. They took everybody on over the right. And Kramer stopped and threw back to the backup tight end Bob Brewer. He was wide open. It was right off his fingertips. Look at Kramer here now. Roll right. First time we've seen it all day. Both backs that way. The guard going. Kramer pulls up and throws back. And there it was. But just off the fingertips of Brewer, and he was open.
Vanmeyer's kick will be from the 10, so it's a 20-yard field goal attempt. Bills hose. Straight on. Perfunctory, as they say about those kickers. Earlier, Dan Meyer missed a short one, so the Vikings draw blood again. It's 17-7 Minnesota.
To me, passion means more than loving. It's my way of living.
Sophia.
It's laughing and exploring life, making mistakes instead of playing it safe.
Sophia.
I want to do everything with a passion. That's how I feel about my life and my fragrance. It has to be experienced.
Sophia, the fragrance of living and loving.
Sophia.
Wear it with a passion.
If you want the agent who gives you good neighbor service on your car, home, life, and health insurance, check with State Farm.
I'm State Farm agent Carl Cox. What sets State Farm apart is no secret. It's that good neighbor service State Farm is famous for. With State Farm, you have affordable protection that respects your budget. One agent who can do it all. Life, health, home, and car insurance. And just one number to call for that good neighbor service. Check with State Farm.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Back in the Silverdome, 8:12 left before halftime. A 70-yard bomb by the Lions, and since then, it's much as you see there. Dan Meyer carrying the football, and the Vikings scoring some points. Kramer really has got the offense full of life.
11 of 16 now, Kramer is. A couple of touchdowns.
Alvin Hall back to receive. He and Robbie Martin. They'll kick away from Hall since Hall took one coast to coast a week ago at Lambeau Field. There's Hall. He hasn't had a chance to touch it yet. And he won't again unless he takes it away from Martin. Martin at the 12-yard line. Martin gets out. Oh, now he's straightened up at the 27 and dropped. Pretty good special team coverage. Down the road, don't forget next Sunday, the CBS doubleheader day. The NFL Today starts it all with a group back in New York. It sets the tempo for us. Then Detroit at Tampa Bay, Green Bay at Atlanta. And remember, if you win a lot of games and have the best win-loss record, you get home field advantage guaranteed. So all games are important. Chicago at LA in the doubleheader game, and the Eagles battle it out and shoot it out down in Texas Stadium. All here on CBS. The NFL Today starts it off. Cut back by Detroit for a couple. Vikings are playing a lot better defense. They said their defense has sort of come together now. The strike's behind them, and they look like they're much more solid, don't you think?
They've been solid. They've got good linebacking. You see number 54, McNeil and Blair. Those guys have been around for 9 years. They're a settling influence, and they got the guy playing nose tackle, Charlie Johnson, right now that they got from Philadelphia, who is the best in the league at that position. He's been a real inspiration, a role model for the rest of these guys on the Minnesota defensive line.
Charlie's always been a great team player, and he was just maybe the shot they needed, but he's really played well. Oh, they run at him this time and send Sims back out over the 35. Charlie Johnson, he's really become a good close friend of mine from Colorado and all, and he told me that Dick Vermeil, he just felt was working him too hard, and he was going to leave 3 or 4 years of a career on the practice field. So he said, Dick, I love you, but I got to go somewhere where it's easier.
Pretty good theory. Pretty good theory. That can happen, too, I'll guarantee it. Charlie Johnson, although he's a big guy and he plays over the center, he's not a mauler there. You know, he plays a lot with his hands and glides up and down and makes good plays all up and down the line of scrimmage.
And, of course, these Vikings don't even practice on Saturday. Bud Grant lets them take that day off. Here's Sims going for a first down, not getting it. Good defensive play. Tommy Hannon, the safety man, and others came up. You don't hold Billy Sims to nothing very often. And Studwell there, too.
A good team defense that time by the Vikings, all the way up and down the defensive line, and the linebackers converging on it. Here we go. We got David Hill back there, the tight end at fullback. They pull the guard. Look at the white shirts converge.
Good secondary play, huh?
Hannon was up. The safety read it immediately and got up there.
Look at them. Here come the rest of those Vikings. They're wild today. Skladany back to punt. This will be his third. Remember, he had to make the tackle of Eddie Payton, who's ran that one back 35 the last time. Almost the exact position on the field where he was before. Here's Skladany's kick. Oh, this is a rocket. The flags are down. Payton has got to run back to the 31. This time he's hit hard, but the flags were down early. And 58 for Detroit is having some problems down there on the field. That's Doig, the young rookie, D-O-I-G, Doig.
got the offense back in there. That could be a roughing the kicker. The Detroit offense, I think, came back out on the field.
Boy, Skladany really got about a 5-second hang time punt. That was a great punt.
Running into the kicker on the defense and an illegal block on the return team, and that one will be refused.
Wow.
And we will take the penalty will be executed on the running into the kicker.
Sound like the Nuremberg trials. I plead guilty.
Number 1 is Skladany, the punter. You saw him make a tackle on the last punt. So they're going to put him in a position where he's not going to be able to make a tackle on this one. Down he goes. Unintentional, but nevertheless.
Looked like that player was blocked, though, and he was off balance. That's supposed to negate any kind of a penalty, isn't it? And an illegal block downfield. Steve Jordan was the player that made the contact with Skladany. And it's a 1st and 10. Detroit keeps the football. Danielson dumps it. Hill tight end to the 46-yard line. Good read by the quarterback. Dennis Johnson making the tackle there.
David Hill, number 81, as we mentioned, started at fullback the last 2 weeks. He came back a lot overweight. You talked about it earlier, Tommy. He came back a lot overweight this year, probably as much as 25, 30 pounds. So they punished him by setting him down.
He's got a lot of talent, too. He can really play. Sometimes the wallets get too big, too, and that's very heavy.
A Pro Bowler twice, so they expect a lot out of it.
2nd down and short. Sims. A good play by number 59, Matt Blair.
Oh, great play.
No gain. I've never seen Sims stop twice in a row for no gain or a loss like that.
Number 59, Matt Blair, the outside linebacker on the left side for the Minnesota Vikings. You see him right there in the huddle, made a fine play. He'll close down. He's out of the picture right now. But watch number 81, David Hill at fullback. He's the lead blocker, and he's going to meet Blair right here.
Good play.
And then the middle linebacker, Studwell, comes over and cleans up. Good team defense.
Vikings in their 4-man rush. 0 for 4 on 3rd down. The numbers on that Detroit offense. Danielson being rushed, and he gets it to Sims for a 1st down into Minnesota territory. Rufus Best making the tackle.
Number 20 is a guy they like to get it to here. Whether they hand it to him or throw it to him. That time Danielson held on right to the last instant to get Sims out there on his cut and make his turn.
Sims and Danielson exchange pleasantries after that last one. And of course, you know Sims is not only an integral part of the offense, he might be a 99% of it. He's a great player. 3.5 minutes left. Here's the bootleg right by Danielson. Being chased and tackled by number 29, Johnny Swain. They're going to call face mask, and Bud Grant doesn't like it.
Neither does Bob Holloway. That's him, the defensive coach right there. The dark coat and the headset on to the right.
Remember what Grant said yesterday? The things you can't control. He said, that's what I worry about.
That was our first question to him, right? What worries you most about this football game? He says, the things I can't control.
He said, my players will do all right. He said, well, what if you get a bad flag or ball bounces this way or that way? There's Johnny Michaels right next in front of Bud Grant there. He's given the official, number 17, a little piece of his mind, too.
On the defense, it will still be 1st down.
That means it's an inadvertent grabbing then by Swain.
Well, it's a good play by number 29 as he kept his leverage out there. Didn't let Danielson get around him, but he's got him by the muzzle right there.
If it's inadvertent, it's not a flagrant violation. 1st and 5. Inside drive play. Sims bounces out. Billy Sims being chased and dropped back at the 45, and I mean hard, by John Turner. Secondary's been eating gunpowder for Minnesota.
They wanted to run it over on the right side behind Keith Dorney, their best offensive lineman, and Doug Martin had him stood straight up. Sims ran into his back. Look at this. We've just seen it as we rewind it for. There goes Dorney down. Sims outside, nowhere to go, but a great play over there at the point of attack by number 79, Doug Martin.
6 penalties for Minnesota, only 1 for Detroit. Danielson back on second down and 7. Knocked away, intercepted. Doug Martin makes the interception. Holloway got one earlier, and we do have just a little bit of a problem. Ball and all. The flag is down out there, so there's going to be a penalty. Looked like a safety man and a guard got into a tangle, didn't they?
See what they sorted out here.
Why is it those secondary men always are getting in fights with those gigantic linemen?
Because they know somebody will stop it.
That's exactly.
We had unsportsmanlike conduct on both Minnesota and Detroit is continuing action, and the ball will take right there, and we'll scrimmage from there, and there will be no yardage penalty.
Here it is again now, the deflection. Danielson, sometimes when you have a guy like Billy Sims on your team, you have a tendency to want to go to him too much. Look at him right here making his turn. Fred McNeil's in pretty good shape. So's the other linebacker, and Martin has the interception.
Here's to good friends. Tonight has gotten special.
So long, fellas. Hey, Jim, how you doing? I'm hot, cold, thirsty. Call me a cab.
10 minutes to have you back at the lodge.
I can't make it.
10 minutes to have you back at the lodge drinking a Lowenbrow.
I can make it.
When you want the taste of a truly great beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Where would I be without you guys?
Probably still out there in the snow somewhere.
Some special Christmas gifts from Radio Shack.
I knew my son would like a radio control toy for Christmas, and Radio Shack has a great assortment to choose from. With an easy-to-operate transmitter, he can control all the action, whether it's at the races, on maneuvers, on the road, or off.
Dad, is it my turn yet?
11 different radio-controlled action toys, $11.95 to $69.95. Only at Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
Christmas Day on CBS Sports, the Texas Longhorns go head-to-head against senior running back Kelvin Bryant and the North Carolina Tar Heels in the Sun Bowl. Holiday greetings on CBS Sports.
Well, it's only fitting we'd have a great game, and this the home where the Super Bowl was when San Francisco edged Cincinnati, and then to have Joe Schmidt, the great Hall of Fame player, and the coach here to drop in the booth. It's sort of fun to get back to Detroit.
Remember, I've always said how important it is to have role models when you're a young player. He was mine.
He was? Well, that explains a lot. One of our great friends, Joe Schmidt. A lot of tradition here in Detroit. 2:42 on the clock. Kramer dumping again. That's Brewer, number 81. Joe Sensor, probably number 81. He's got a bad knee and a bad elbow, but the big guy rolls into Detroit territory.
Of course, all the Minnesota people know what a great athlete he is. Number 81, Joe Sensor. Sensational season last year.
What is that on his right elbow? Didn't he have it infected? I heard he got it infected.
Off, I think, an AstroTurf burn. That bothered him. It got fluid on it about 3 times his normal size. He's been bothered by a knee, but he's a great player and hangs in there.
Doug English just was helped off the field. Number 78 for Detroit. Another great player, speaking of great players. First down. Play action pass by Kramer. Being rushed, and he fumbles the football. I believe Minnesota recovered. Minnesota got the second bounce and kept the ball. Al Baker caused the fumble, and I believe Wes Hamilton came up with it. The Silver Rush finally got to Kramer. Hamilton made the recovery.
Watch Kramer move around back there now and then lose the handle on this one. Good pressure up front. Looks like they came straight on him. No games or anything. Here comes Baker. He makes Kramer step up and then strips the ball coming over with the right hand. So Minnesota retains possession. And they lead 17-7.
Toyota presents a truck that gives you the feeling that you're one true chopper. The 1983 Toyota Standard Truck, $59.98. You shopped around, and it paid off. In a truck that seats 3, can be loaded to the gunnels, and isn't afraid to flex its muscle now and then. Now, how do do you feel about that 59.98?
Like somebody did it right.
Hello, I'm George Plimpton. Here's an easy question for you. Okay, Mr. Plimpton. Which of these home video games looks more like a real arcade game? Intellivision Lock and Chase from Mattel Electronics?
Gee, if people had this game at home, my arcade could be in big trouble.
Or Atari Pac-Man?
Blinky, you look pale.
If you picked Intellivision, you're absolutely correct.
The Pro Bowler, the oil man, the great defensive tackle, Doug English, is injured somewhat. He doesn't look like it's serious. But so far, that Minnesota offense is sort of peck away at you. Got a great catch by LeCount, and then Lewis catches one, and first thing you know, it's 17-7, and it could have been worse. 1:52 left before halftime. LeCount in motion. That's Kramer. He's being rushed out of the pocket, and Bubba Baker from behind, and it's fumbled again.
I think they called it down before the fumble, Brookie.
Limping just a little bit. Kramer got up a little bit gimpy.
Well, with the second pass play in a row, Kramer gets big pressure from the Detroit front four, and keep in mind, Doug English is not in there. Joe Ehrman, number 74, is playing a right tackle. They had a stunt that time. Ehrman goes out, and Bubba Baker comes up inside on a loop, and he made the hit again.
The thing with Bubba Baker, if he gets heated up and turned on to it, he can get you 4 or 5 in a row if you're having to throw a lot. Detroit, the number 2 team coming in sacks. Of course, they had 9 a week ago against Green Bay. Dallas, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Houston. Of course, the Raiders had a couple yesterday. And beating the Los Angeles Rams. Sideline conference is Bud Grant and company get in there. They're talking to Jerry Burns upstairs. And the defensive smoke is clearing as Maxie Bond sends Sam White back out.
I'm going to say that Maxie Bond does not signal any defenses out to Sam White, number 52. They study together all week. White takes the same film and the same breakdowns of the computer home that Maxie Bond does. They've been around each other a long time. Bond was assistant coach at Baltimore when White was there. Brought him here with him, and he says it's just like having my own mind out there on the field. There's Maxie with a hat on. He said a lot of times, he said, I'll feel like it's time for a blitz, and Stan will look over at me and nod. We're thinking the same thing.
He was a rookie in front of me. I was very glad to have him. Young or old, he was a great player, too. Sure 7 of 8 third down conversions by the Vikings. Kramer's been shot on shotgun. Sharp on shotgun. Here it is, across the middle, almost intercepted by Stan White. Now, Monty Clark made an interesting comment about Stan when he said, well, he is so bright, he can concentrate on 2 things at once. So he came back from really all the litigation and all, probably in better shape than a lot of other people.
Well, they said that he's played some of his best football since the strike, and talking to him, he said, I felt there'd be a lot of pressure on me because I was so visible during that strike. I knew a lot of people would be watching, and I knew I would have to perform, and the Lions say he certainly has.
That's Cobb, the injured linebacker, the captain of the defense, stand alongside, and Gary Coleman's first punt. This guy's a very fine athlete. We've never seen him fake it and run with it, but he can play. He's a good athlete. One of the real good punters, too. He'll hang it. Robbie Martin back to take this kick. Ooh, they could have almost blocked that one. Calicut came close. Here's the kick by Coleman, bouncing on the artificial rug and into the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. We'll be back. 1:29 left before halftime.
What happens to the child nobody wants? As they grow older, their chances for adoption grow slimmer. He's Joe Sensor of the Minnesota Vikings. He knows how these children feel. As a child, he lost one of his parents and was in an orphanage for 6 years.
I can feel what some of these kids are feeling. I know what it feels like when sometimes you don't feel loved and you don't feel cared. And it's a very hurt feeling.
Today, as a United Way volunteer, he knows there are 437 United Ways in Minnesota.
The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service of the National Football League. We had a problem. There was a flag on that last play. Keith Nord of the Vikings did something awful downfield, even though there was no return, and Detroit will have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 35 after a 15-yard penalty. I don't know what you could do when there was no action, but somehow they saw something happening. If somebody doesn't hit somebody on every play, they shouldn't play football. 1st and 10. Danielson fumbles the snap. Holloway was close. The shirt's torn off the right flipper of Danielson, but he did recover his own fumble. 2nd down, 12. Danielson being chased, dumps it, and throws it short. Flags are down, intended for Dexter Bussey, incomplete. The flags are down. It's on Minnesota. Encroachment.
Defense, offside, number 75.
Randy Holloway. Looked like Danielson might have used a little stutter cadence, huh?
No, he's been doing that. That's the 3rd time today that the Minnesota defense has jumped off sides.
2nd down, 7. The 8th penalty against Minnesota. They still lead. 17-7. Big pass rush.
Doug Martin.
Doug Martin.
Boy, he's having a game. He is having a game. 9th player selected in 1980 by the Vikings in the draft. Overall, the 9th player selected. They dropped him especially to play that side over there at the point of attack, the big, strong defensive end side. Had an interception today. He just keeps coming. This is a bull rush. He gets in a seam, and Danielson doesn't have a chance to set up.
He's working against a pretty fair hand over there, too. Keith Dorney, that big offensive right tackle. They put Mulaney at right defensive end and moved Martin to left defensive end. Looks like it's working. Don't forget, at halftime, the NFL Today, Brett Merv with scores and highlights from all around the league, and of course the legends of the game, Raymond Berry. I can't wait to see myself in those highlights of him catching the ball about 80 times.
He do that to you too?
A lot. Nice guy. He used to ask you about your family and your kids and all to be catching 8 or 9 balls on you.
Well, he didn't want to get anything near him. He would come up with it, wouldn't he? Great hands.
Just think if he'd have been able to see.
If he'd been able to run.
We're laughing about a Hall of Famer, Raymond Berry, who's a great guy, and he knows that we're just kidding. The legends of the game at halftime and all those scores and highlights. Everybody is pretty much still in the hunt. I know that sounds crazy, but the home field might become a big factor, especially in head-to-head competition like we've got today, Detroit, Minnesota here. Third down and 15. Danielson, a lot of pressure. He is down again. Uh-oh, they're calling holding. There's a yellow flag thrown in there. Duck White made the big move and got the quarterback.
Hasn't been able to find and get anything going here this afternoon, with the exception of the one long bomb to Leonard Thompson. Danielson has not had anyone open. Look downfield, no one's there. His protection is starting to break up on him now. Minnesota definitely has control of this ball game at this point.
Don Greco, the young man from Illinois, from Western Illinois, the earth mover, was detected for holding. And Skladany is back to kick. And Eddie Payton back to receive. Our continuing story of punter and punt returnee. Looks like they're ganging up to try to block it. At least that's what the Lions think. This looks like the French Foreign Legion.
Look at they've got 9 guys one side of the center over there.
Grant loves to use the special teams. That's part of it. They're coming. They don't get it. Skladany stayed in there and hit it. A low kick. Peyton takes it to 35. And Walter's older, smaller brother is driven out on the far side at about the 42-yard line. Boy, Skladany saw a lot of people coming after him.
Well, I'll tell you, they've always had great special teams, and for a while they didn't have a special teams coach, did they, up there? They just took turns doing it. Grant said that he came down from Canada when he first started coaching, and he looked, and nobody harassed the kickers, the place kickers, the punters. He said, anyway, he said, you got to just let them know you're around. He said, when I first came in the league, nobody was doing that. It's really paid off for them.
Pressure's really eating him up over there, isn't it? 15 years as the head Viking. What a career. There's Kramer, quick drop. Now he's going to readjust. Hits LeCount. LeCount trying to get outside, gets a block by Lewis, but doesn't get to midfield. You can see the seconds there as they're ticking off. A 17-7 Minnesota lead. Latimer and Watkins in on the tackle. Little Lewis came back and got a pretty good peel block.
Pretty tough 170-pounder.
Second down, and call it 5. Kramer going outside. Oh, sensor drilled at the 49-yard line. Hector Gray making the tackle there. Minnesota has some tempo. Once they sort of get you going a little bit, they're in there and on top of you, and it's one little drop after the other by this man.
Timeout for Minnesota. They have 1 remaining in the half.
Quarterback. The Vikings have scored in the final 2 minutes of the first half.
And he's pulled out a ton for him at the end also.
Boy. Here he is over now. Coaches usually come down from the booth this late so that they're on the sidelines. Minnesota with a timeout. Lions also with one. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the written consent of the Detroit Lions and the National Football League obviously is prohibited. Defensive man, Stan White. Played so many years with Baltimore. Has come up here and become that coach player that Maxey really was too for George Allen.
The Lions historically and in their tendencies, blitz a lot in these kind of situations, but they're really afraid to against Minnesota because Grant and his system and Tommy Kramer back there picking things up can really cut a blitz to pieces. Well, they have not blitzed much there this afternoon.
And Kramer has the quick release. LeCount in motion. Kramer back, 2-step drop, hits Lewis with it. Lewis gets out to 38, 39. He looked like he's in a Little League uniform out there. But he plays big league, doesn't he?
Number 87. They drafted him, and then they had to release him. When he left 2 years ago, Bud Grant said, I'll probably bring you back. And Lewis said, I thought he was just telling me that to make me feel better, but they did. They brought him back, and it's paid dividends for them.
Half his numbers down in his trousers. That's when you know they're not too tall. Plays big. 1st and 10. That's LeCount. Quick drop. Good protection. Now he's being pressured. Kramer's going up for Lewis, and it's out of bounds. Big rush by Bubba Baker. Even helps the quarterback back up. Imagine who the other end was on his college team at Colorado State. It was Bell from Kansas City. He and Baker were on either side. Whoever the coach was out there should have been the defensive coach of the decade. Eighth in passing defense. Giving up a little over 200. Darn good job by there, I guess, but they really were expert against the rush. Number 1 in the NFC. Here's Kramer going up again. Everybody's out of bounds. 2 defenders and 2 receivers.
Kramer's pass.
It's McNorton who thought he made the interception, but almost out in the parking lot.
Almost like Kramer on those last 2 throws, Tommy, just really actually threw those balls away. I don't think that he had anybody really to go to. He didn't want to hold it and take a sack because they still got a chance or they had a chance perhaps to kick a field goal if they would have tried. But he just threw those two away, those last two, out of the sidelines, out of bounds, so nobody would get them.
Kramer's 15 of 23 for 156 yards and 2 TDs. That's a pretty good half. He's going up this time for McCollum, LeCount, and the jump ball is caught. It's caught by Lewis. Lewis gets a touchdown on the jump ball. He's only 5'8". The whole team from Minnesota is in the end zone.
No sweat, huh? No sweat. It's a play that every team in the league uses now. They get 3 wide receivers, line them up on one side, run them deep, throw the ball up in the air, hope to get a deflection or a tip ball. That's what they got, but the guy that came down with it was little Leo Lewis, 5'7", 5'8".
Just a good coaching job, Bud thinks, right? Boy, does that turn that team on. What a blow before halftime. The last play of the half will be this extra point. The flags are up.
Penalty marker on the kick.
They're going to have to decide whether the penalty perhaps would be against Detroit. It would be on the ensuing kickoff for the second half. That's going to be it. What a way to end the first half.
The defense had 12 men on the field. Refused. Kick is good.
A few boos, but this was a bomb.
Look at this right here, and it starts up front now. The offensive line's got to do a job because he's got to take some time to let those guys get downfield. He just airs it out high, lofts it down the end zone. There are your 3 wide receivers. When the ball's tipped by a couple Lions, it bounces around, and that's exactly what you want to have happen. Now, here are the 3 on ISO that we told you about. They call it a stacked deck, 3 aces, whatever they call it. All the teams use it now. They're downfield. They're looking for the ball. They'll just gather around it and hope something good comes out of this. Just like my old friend John Brody once said, if you throw enough slop on the wall, some of it'll stick.
The 3rd touchdown of the first half. And here is number 9, Kramer's reaction. 21-7.
They didn't have those Big Ben plays when you were a defensive back, huh?
No, of course. That's something the New Orleans Saints came up with 3 or 4 years ago, and of course they've had a lot of success with it.
What do the receivers try to do? Just bat the ball and keep it on play down there?
You want to keep it up in the air and see if you can grab it. The defensive back, though, should take it and spike it to the ground if you possibly could.
All right, let's get everybody up to date with the scores around the league now. Nasty weather almost every place where they're playing without a dome. In Soldier Field, the Cardinals got a touchdown set up here. Lomax Tilly right down to the 1-yard line. Bears say let's pinch because we know that Wayne Morris is coming on the first 2 downs. They swing him to the outside. All he has to do is run to the flag, and he's got the touchdown at 7-0 after the extra point. They're underway now in the 3rd quarter of that game. Oh, Irv is smiling about this next score. Oh, he loves this one, 21-0. What's going on with those Eagles? Where they been all
Long time coming. Great defense, great offense. Everything is falling together. Plus the fact Houston looks a little flat.
How about this guy, Mike Quick?
Well, Mike Quick, #1 draft choice for the Eagles. Dick Vermeil's very high on him. A big play receiver, and he's having a good day today.
All right, and of course the game you are watching, and we hope you are enjoying. You're probably not enjoying too much if you're a diehard Lion fan. Right now the Vikes are all over the Lions, 24-7. The best news out of that game, of course, is the fact that neither Ahmad Rashad nor James Hunter are seriously injured. The Hunter injury appeared to be the worst. He was taken off the field on a stretcher, but late report is now that he's standing back on the sidelines with a towel around the neck, and that is good news. Rashad, he broke a small bone in his back, and not as serious as it sounds, although certainly he will not play for the rest of the day, and you would think it would be very questionable for next week for Minnesota. But again, Bud Grant knows how to do it to the Lions in a big game. It is 24-7 Vikings. Green Bay, or I should say before we get to the Green Bay score, I'm ahead of myself. Pittsburgh now leading Cleveland. The story of the Browns, of course, is that Paul McDonald has replaced Brian Sipe. Jimmy the Greek told me before the game it is not because Sipe has been ineffective, but he is injured. That's why they are putting McDonald into this game. They struck first. The Browns were ahead 3-0, and then Terry Bradshaw, who came off that dismal performance last week against Buffalo. I asked Terry on the telephone this week, why? What happened last week up in Buffalo? He said, Brent, you won't believe this, but I forgot my long underwear. I've never been that cold in my life. I've heard a lot of alibis, Irv, but that's one of the better ones.
A Steeler complaining about being cold? It's hard to believe.
Now our commander, Frank Kush. Well, it is 3-3, Packers and the Colts. It is starting to snow down in Baltimore, and These guys look a little lonely. The stadium down there about half filled, very enthusiastic though. They're waiting for Cush and the Colts to break through and win for the first time. The Packers have come back and tied the score. They are 3-all in that one right there. And as I mentioned, a lot of snow now along the East Coast, especially in Washington. The Giants leading the Redskins 14-3, and it has been this kind of an afternoon. John Riggins stuffed here by Lawrence Taylor, and Joe Theismann really had the toughest afternoon of the season for him, Irv.
5 turnovers in the first half, Brent. 4 of them interceptions. There's interception number 1. Brian Kelly, the linebacker, picks that one off. He picked off.
It was a touchdown for the Giants, 29-yarder.
Joe Theismann likes to put the ball in the air, and his favorite receiver is number 81, Art Monk out of Syracuse. A big target, makes the catch, but bang, he's hit there, coughs the ball up. Terry Jackson forced a fumble, and the
choice out of Michigan. So, hey, there is our big guy. He's enjoying this weather, isn't he? He's got him one of those 3-wheelers. To heck with the reindeer. I can get around faster on that thing. The NFL Today continues on CBS after these messages from your local stations.
The NFL's gained, of course, now CBS's. We enjoyed it, Wayne. We had to keep that a secret from you and Lucci and Joe Schmidt and all those horrible old Lions you knew, and Lim Barney and that bunch. But they all knew about it. And here's the second half kickoff. Eddie Murray kicking now. Number 22 back in there. I believe Jarvis Redwine, the Nebraska Cornhusker, brought it out. A 29-yard return. Halftime stats. Is that something? Total yards, 267 to 95.
You know, again, we mentioned earlier, you talk about game plans and you talk about misdirections and throwing the ball in front of rookie cornerbacks, but Minnesota's just dominated this game physically, and that's usually the difference in every football game, and it has been in this one so far.
And the last alley-oop pass that young Lewis caught might have sent some people into the parking lot and home at halftime. We're going to check on the no-shows in a little while and let you know, but 60,000 looked like they showed up for a while. In motion was Sensor. This is out to Brown in the flat. Vikings get it going out to the 30-yard line.
You know, Joe Schmidt was in here just a few minutes ago, Tommy, and we talked to him during halftime, and he was the next coach here. And somebody asked him, well, what do you tell a team when they're in at halftime and they trail like this at halftime? He said the best thing to tell them is how hard it is to make a living on the outside.
There was a shot of Jimmy Hunter down on the sidelines. He had a towel around his neck. He was standing by Kayat. Yeah, there he is. So Jimmy is all right. Might have just been temporarily hit in that neck area. The flags are down now, and they're going to mark it off. But we wanted you to know that Jimmy Hunter is not only alive and well, but he's going to be all right. And that's perhaps the most important thing about this game. Tom Brookshire with Wayne Walker.
Illegal motion on the offense.
Looked like Sensor might have turned upfield a little early. Bob Frederick, the officials, they've kept control of it. And I thought Detroit was really fired up and ready to play, which I think they were. Just a couple of the things that they couldn't get their offense unloaded in the first half, and the Vikings have just taken up that vacuum and filled it. 1st and 15. LeCount in motion. Straight drive. Ooh, going wherever he wants to go. Doesn't get much. Gets about 3 of it back. Alvin Hall making the stop. Quarterback comparison. According to this graph, it is not much of a comparison today. 16 of 24, 195, 3 touchdowns. And, of course, Gary with the first 70-yard touchdown bomb. And not much after that.
And look at the interceptions. That's been a big difference also.
Lewis and Sam McCullum out to the right in the slot. Second down and a bunch. The draw play. And sealed off there by Gay. William Gay, who has really improved. I'm told around the league that he's really beginning to play good defensive tackle.
He's a great athlete, perhaps as quick as anybody they have up front. He was drafted as a tight end, but put on a little weight. They had him figured out for a defensive lineman anyway, and he's really coming on now for Detroit.
He likes to hit people too.
3rd and 18.
A big hitter. Now it's 3rd down and 17. Against most teams, this would be good for you defensively, but darn, Minnesota's been able to pick up the big ones. Here's the reverse, the old Statue of Liberty, a Bud Grant play. Brown cutting back, gets to the 29, and Doug English made a tackle. It's a good thing Doug English chased the play.
He was hustling. Statue of Liberty, exactly what it is, as you call it. It was off a triple formation.
Catch, it'll go out of bounds somewhere around the 21 or so. I think I called Coleman Gary Coleman. He's the young television star. I don't want to get Greg mad at me, but Greg's one of the great people. By the way, he had one of the fastest hurdle times ever, didn't he, in this country?
He gets a big battle going with Skladany. He likes to outpunt him. He's doing a good job this afternoon. Bruce Brothers kids.
24-7 in the third, 12:38 left in this third period. I know you won't believe it, but if you're just joining us, it was a close ball game for that first quarter. In fact, Detroit broke out on top with a 70-yard bomb. Now they've got their problems, but they do have the ball. It's 1st and 10 on the 21. Danielson has gone all the way at quarterback. He's got time. Over the middle, a good pass to the 41-yard line. Nichols makes the catch, and there's a flag down that may be tacked on. A good pass and catch. There's the young man they drafted a year ago, and he is not only fast but big. He runs a 4.4 40, they said?
He can step it out. He was their #1 draft choice a year ago. Was injured last year. And that time, Detroit did a good job of picking up a blitz. Minnesota blitzed that time for one of the few times in this ball game.
Face mask on the defense, number 27. First down.
That was Turner grabbing on. Again, it was inadvertent, so they just tack it on.
Nichols coming right down here and cutting in on a short post pattern and makes the catch.
He's big at about 6'2½", 208. The toss, weak side toss, back to Billy Sims. Sims cuts back, runs into trouble at midfield, but gets there. Charlie Johnson making the stop.
Sims' greatest asset, Tom, watching him here since he's been in Detroit, and I haven't seen that many games since I don't live here anymore, but no one ever gets a real good shot at him. He always makes a little juke, a little move. He's only missed 2 games since he's been here. The trainer says he's never in the training room. Comes in and gets his ankles taped, and that's the only time he sees him. And that's pretty unique for a running back that carries the ball as much as he does.
And a great character in the community when he's not playing, too. He's been a great Lion. Oh, the rush is on, but Bussey has it. A good throw by Danielson, and he had a lot of heat. Doug Martin put a lot of heat that time on the quarterback.
Now that was a big rush by Doug Martin, number 79. Watch, it's going to be a stunt. You'll see he is outside. He'll come down inside on a line charge, break free, kind of clear off. Good concentration by Danielson because he had him right in his lap when he released.
Good play. A first down play going across the middle. Number 87 has it, Freddie Scott. Scott gets to the 5-yard line. Freddie Scott, the intelligent one. A good quick post pattern. And now there's suddenly cheers here in the Silver Dome.
Well, I know that Danielson feels that Fred Scott is probably his most dependable receiver. And he likes to go to him as much as anyone. A good catch over the middle. Keep in mind, here's a guy catching the ball over the middle, and he caught a pass last week and was knocked colder than a mackerel by the Green Bay Packers. He's got a ton of courage, number 87.
Those guys from Amherst, you know they're tough. You have to be to get in and out of Amherst. A brilliant guy and a great player. What a reception, a 30-yarder. Danielson has the Lions moving. A toss back to Billy Sims. To the 4.5, 5-yard line, back to the 6. Good-looking tackle by Holloway. And McNeil also in there. The Viking linebackers are big, strapping guys, though. Blair and McNeil and Studwell.
Blair is, what, 6'5", the rest of them are 6'2", 6'3", really a good crew. McNeil and Blair drafted the same year. McNeil was a number 1, Blair was a number 2. They've never regretted that draft.
Well, when you hold Billy Sims like they have on several occasions, you got to play good defense. Here's a big play for everybody. 2nd down and goal. Danielson, quick, he's going to sprint right now. He's cut off. Danielson being chased. Dropped back at the 11-yard line. As Scott Studwell wrapped him up. 24-7, but a mammoth amount of time. 9:40 left in the third period.
Number 16 is frustrated right now, as is Monty Clark. Minnesota playing great team defense, Brookie. Even though they've got some line stunts going on up front, they're all staying in their lane, and when Danielson pulls it down to look to run somewhere, there still is no place to go, and they're doing a good job covering in the secondary.
4 sacks by that Viking defense, Wayne, you're talking about so far. Freddie Scott is in. Danielson, now he's going to Scott in the left flat. He makes a diving catch at the original line of scrimmage, about the 6. Now what do? Go for a 3, or do you have to stay in there and get 7?
I think at this point, they just got to get some kind of points on the board. They're going to bring in Murray. The crowd won't like it, but it's the percentage thing to do.
He's a good kicker. That would be the percentage I would go with. But that's a lot of points they've got to make up.
Be a good time for a fake, and also Minnesota is very successful blocking these things, extra points and field goals.
Murray
and Blair and Sensor up behind the line. I don't know if they're going to do that now. Yes, they are. They're both back there. They'll surge, and then Blair and Sensor will leap up to try to get this thing.
A 26-yard attempt by Murray. Boy, it looks solid. One of the few side saddle kickers that gets that ball to come straight up and open up through there. A good one. 3 points by number 3. It's 24-10 in the third period. There's Eddie Murray, the young man from deep down south, Tulane way, 24-10. He's a good kicker. He sets it up differently, doesn't he? We'll talk about it.
You mentioned that he doesn't get the hook on the ball that most soccer-style kickers do, and it's because he leans the ball away from him when he kicks extra points and field goals. We'll get a chance to take a look at it.
Eddie Payton and Jarvis Redwine waiting for the Vikings. The Lions have struck for the field goal. This is Redwine. He fumbles the ball at the 5. Redwine back to the 4, the 3, and dropped on the 4-yard line. Graham making the tackle. Does this crowd love that play?
You know, Tom, those kinds of things happen a lot in this building. It's extremely noisy in here, being indoors, and this crowd can make a lot of noise on punts sometimes and kickoffs and even quarterback audibles. Players can't hear each other. That was just a mess up there in communications, I think, of who was going to take the ball. So Detroit's a little pumped up right now. They could get back in this game if they get a big play from their defense. But so far, Minnesota has controlled them, and they've controlled this crowd.
This is the defense's time to do it. Kayet and Maxie Bond were yelling. Now Kramer cannot hear the count.
No sooner said than done. We start talking about the noise factor in here, and then they start pumping it up.
It's a mistake, though, not to get the first snap off. If you do that 2 or 3 times, you end up having to kick from deep in the end zone.
Well, you'll see the Detroit defensive players. They want to start. They want to get it on. They're waving right now. Hold it down. Let us play.
I think the crowd has a right to do whatever they want to do. They paid for it. Let them yell.
Now, Kramer's doing the smart thing. He's not putting his hands under the center until they tell him to.
The 30-second clock will be reset a full 30 seconds.
Bob Frederick trying to settle the crowd down. That's a gusty boo. That's a nice boo he's getting. But you cannot penalize the home crowd. I saw Ron Jaworski do this one time, and the Eagles haven't won a game since.
Defense is trying to quiet them down. So are the Detroit coaches on the sideline.
Get a play off, it stops. That'll stop it. That's Sensor for the first down. That'll stop it.
That'll quiet it down and hurry. You're right.
We used to have our guards that did that, and I couldn't figure out why they couldn't hear the count. They're right next to the darn quarterback and center. They would always run around like wrestlers. A big defensive series for Detroit, though. Make no mistake. On defense, Wayne, you're thinking turnover now. Something to squeeze with, right, here in this third period?
Well, I think so. You almost have to take a chance right now. Brookie, if you're Detroit and you're trailing like this, they haven't blitzed much today, but perhaps they got to fire something up in there and see if they can create a turnover or an error situation for the Vikings. It gets to this point where it turns into a gamble, a crapshoot, and you just try to outguess them.
Kramer right now has been rolling hot, 17 of 25, 211, and 3 touchdowns. So you can't let him stand there. Straight up, that's Teddy Brown, tackled by Fantetti.
And it picked up a couple more decibels. It was kind of amazing, though, wasn't it, when we talked to Bud Grant last night, saying that he really likes to play here in Detroit. He said the key thing coming in here is not only controlling Detroit, but controlling the crowd. He loves it. They've had great football games in here. It's his favorite place, he said, to play a football game. Number 57, the Fantetti there, the linebacker, makes a good play.
He took that step up, didn't he? Kramer back. Bean Rice got time. Oh, McCullum makes a diving try at the 35. Hall was there, but Sam might have been open. Looked like Gabe put his hand right up in Kramer's face.
You know, a lot of times we notice you don't have to have a hand on a quarterback, be clutching at him, grabbing his jersey to bother him. A lot of times if you just go back there in your lanes, get your hands up in the air, it cuts down his passing lanes, cuts down his vision, and causes a lot of problems.
Boy, that's a big bunch of offensive linemen for Minnesota, though, for Johnny Michaels. They are big and strong.
Really impressed with them today. They have won the battle so far, that's for sure.
9 of 13 third down conversions. The crowd's still hot. Kramer being chased and tackled back to the 12-yard line.
Hard to talk over this. That was number 75, Dave Purifoy, who got that sack. Little guy, we call him a little guy. He's about 5'11". It says 5'11" in the program. He's probably about 5'10", 250 pounds, and he's just one of those guys. He's a workhorse. Keeps coming all day long.
He's played everywhere well that he's ever played. Cincinnati, here, Green Bay. Some big sack. And now from the end zone, Greg Coleman is kicking. Suddenly a different football game. 6 minutes left in the third period. A lot of time. Martin's waiting. Here's the kick. It's not a good kick. Coleman's taken by Martin at the 45. Martin falls to the 36. Look out. The Lions are alive. Martin took it on the dead run, a low kick by Coleman, and suddenly the whole Lion bench is involved in the game. First down and 10 on the 35. Danielson, play action. Dumps it back to Hill, who drops the ball. Got to put him on a Cambridge diet or something. I think the hands have gone at the same time. He would have eaten that thing up before the strike problem.
A couple years ago, he has gone back a little bit. They said that was just play action that time. He faked the block up at the line, held for about a count or two, tried to slip in underneath the linebackers, and had it for about a 7 or 8 yard gain. But as you saw, he couldn't hang on to it.
And he was open, and he's a great talent. Danielson on second down and 10. See if he's got time. The blitz is on. Danielson's going for the load, hitting for Scott. Nobody there, threw it away as Willie Teal was the closest to the ball.
The Vikings took a chance that time, and they blitzed. It worked out for them. Danielson didn't have time to go the hot receiver. Anytime they blitz, you're single coverage, and you want to go to that inside post pattern. The receiver has to read it, the quarterback has to read it, but Danielson had to throw it before he wanted to.
Gary Danielson talking a little bit to Freddie Scott that perhaps they had misunderstood one another. There's the walk-off. Bob Frederick will tell us. Was it an offsides? I don't know where they threw that flag. I never even saw the flag.
I didn't either. Defensive lineman off now about 4 times for Minnesota, and I know they're coached to watch the ball and leave on the snap.
Second down and 5. Inside handoff. Dexter Bussey. And now Danielson is clapping his hands along with the crowd. First down, Detroit. They've come out in the second half like they were lit up by perhaps the coaching staff. Danielson talking to Bussey as he goes to the line. Sims is in there too. The quick drop. Danielson across and knocked away. Knocked away by Johnny Swain, number 29. Good defensive play.
Tried to get him to buy it on the play action and did not. That was a good play by the cornerback Swain. Second-year player out of Miami, Florida. John Turner used to start over there. They moved Turner to safety to make room for Swain. Here's the play action. And as good a play as you're going to make, a defensive cornerback got the whole field inside to cover. That is a tough coverage job right there for the cornerback, and he did a great job.
One place where you can get the ball, and Swain got it. Now it's second down and 10. Danielson, quick drop. He's being rushed, or is he? Now he's going to run. Danielson inside the 20. Danielson to the 15. And he fumbles the ball. Let's see. Let's see if they're going to call it dead. They're going to give Detroit back the ball, I believe. I think Swain made the original contact.
Third down play coming up, Tommy, and when you really think about it, 3 points isn't going to do the Lions a whole lot of good this time.
The ground can't cause the fumble. I know it's become a television cliche, but we thought we would explain why you saw it and why the Vikings didn't get it. Third down and 4. Quick drop. Danielson. Underthrowing. Nichols down in the corner. Looked like Nichols might have gotten tangled up with the defense man, who was Willie Teal.
Well, also, and Gary threw that ball off his heels, kind of backing up, didn't have on him what he wanted to, and I didn't think the rush was that close to him that time. I think perhaps it has been so tough on him all day that he's just getting a little gun shy right now.
I noticed Murray is not coming on the field. He turned and went back to the bench like, okay, if you want me, I'm here. If you want 3 more.
Well, it's what we said just a moment ago. 3 doesn't do him much good this stage of the game and on this drive now.
You know, we saw the Redskins win the game with 4 of them. Danielson on 4th down. Danielson, the ball is broken up by number 29. Swain makes 3 good plays in 1 defensive series.
Yes, he does. A great job. They try to get it to Sims coming out of the backfield, and as we often said, sometimes you look for a guy too much. Swain was certainly looking for him and made his 3rd big play of that drive.
Tom Brookshire with Wayne Walker at the Silverdome. A field goal wouldn't have meant a lot unless you were figuring on getting a lot of shots at it in the 4th period.
Yeah, and you might not, because that would make it 13. If you scored a touchdown and a field goal, you're still a point behind. So they really needed a 7 right then.
Of course, Murray hasn't missed much. He's not like you're taking a gamble on him. Inside handoff by Kramer as Galbraith gets his first carry of the second half. 4:06 left in the 3rd period. I just feel like Detroit needed some points in of some kind to sort of keep their fire lit. Here's some scores, other games. The Giants 14-9. Washington, pretty good late team though. Don't count them out. St. Louis leading Chicago 7-0. Bad weather and a good run by Morris for that touchdown. Green Bay on top of Baltimore 10-3 now and breathing again. Second down, call it 10. Kramer may have changed that play, and audible dumps it off to Censor. The tight end gets to the 22-yard line. Tell you, the injuries to Censor in this sort of bizarre, crazy season anyway have really hurt the Vikings, don't you think? Because a year ago he was such a factor.
They said that his efficiency probably is about half what it was, and it's simply because of the injury factor. He's dragging a knee. He's had some problems with that. We mentioned the elbow. You see the pad on that. He was just a great find for them 5 years ago in the draft. They held him out 1 year on the injured reserve and let him work with the team because he came from a small school and was an outside receiver and had to learn how to block and run the patterns from tight end, and they're glad they did.
Oh, he's some tight end. Used to be a basketball player at Westchester State College in Pennsylvania. What a find. Third down, call it 3.5. Too much time. Kramer may have used the whole clock. A flag is finally thrown, and it looked like the safety men and half the Lion defense was coming after him. Might have been changing the play again.
Hey, on the offense.
Well, Bud Grant has made the statement, we just love to have teams blitz us. Chicago did it. Kramer threw 5 touchdown passes.
Bus Murdy's a great assistant. A 28-7, Philadelphia, perhaps too late, finally getting their act together. Pittsburgh on top of Cleveland now in the third, 7-3. And here, it is 24-10. Spin, full spinner handoff, and Brown comes out. I think he's short of the first down at the 25-yard line. Roosevelt Barnes sticking him there. Boy, does he hit that straightaway trap hole quickly. Woo.
Good strategy against the nickel defense to run it, especially when you're backed up like Minnesota was, and they're just a yard short. That was a good call for that situation.
You know, he's averaging over 5 yards a carry. He just doesn't get the carry it a lot. Greg Coleman in, and what a battle of these kicking teams and receiving teams have had. Martin is back. Remember the field position he gave Detroit earlier on the last punt. Now, seeing the Lions might be trying to think about loading up one side or the other. They're doing a lot of shifting. Here's Coleman. Gregg gets off a good kick. This is all right. Oh, yes. Martin back to the 26. Martin to the 31. Gets one block, and then he's wrapped up. Woo, and buried at the 31-yard line. That's Huffman. Under the kick. Makes a good tackle. Detroit still simmering. It's 24-10. 1:38 left in the third. Back at the Silverdome with a 1:38 left in the third. You talk about a big statistic. Sims has had 10 carries and managed 17 yards. Vikings are playing that line of scrimmage, as you said, Wayne, very, very tough. Danielson getting his numbers picked up a little bit, but he's had 2 big interceptions. Now he's got time. Throws for Hill, or Hammond got his hand on it, and Nichols was coming across the middle. I wonder if young Nichols is running bad patterns. It looks like they don't know where he is sometimes.
I know they were having a talk to him down on the sideline after they came off in the last offensive series. And in that time with 2 receivers back-to-back, it kind of makes you wonder.
I think Hill thought he had a shot at it, and then all of a sudden he saw one of the Hawaiian blue shirts go sailing by.
Mark Mosley has been a factor in the game at Washington. He just kicked his 20th consecutive field goal that ties the NFL record held by Garo Yepremian.
20 in a row. What a foot. Danielson across the middle. A great catch by Hill. Right on the Lion helmet, the middle of the field. That's the Hill we remember. I mean, 81 laid out for that.
Charlie Sanders, the great tight end for the Lions for many years, in the booth next to us doing Lions radio today, Brookie, and I talked to him about David Hill, and he said David is overweight and is really not playing the way he should, but he's still better than anyone they have, and so don't punish him or punish the team by putting him on the bench. Play him, just fine him, but still play him even if he is overweight.
That looked like Charlie Sanders too, and the other Hill that we know about. Good point. Dexter Bussey getting the call. The Vikings have been probably keying a lot on number 20, Mr. Sims, so Bussey's getting some action. Charlie Johnson there, number 65. He took the other defensive lineman after the strike was over, Charlie did, out to dinner. He said, I hadn't had a chance to get to know them, nor them know me, so we sat around and probably ate a half a side of beef apiece and talked about offensive linemen, he said.
Tells you something about his character. He hasn't been there very long, and already he's a team leader.
The rushing stats, impressive so far. Don't forget there's a whole fourth period left. Somebody jumped. Did Hill jump on offense or did Martin jump on defense? The officials have been tireless in their pursuit of good football.
False start, offense 81.
Call goes against the tight end. It's, of course, Hill, who made the great catch. And Jimmy Hill, his brother, is the telecaster out in Los Angeles, isn't he? Used to play secondary in this league.
Right. You know what Detroit hasn't done so far that I know they like to do under Monty Clark rookie is they haven't run a reverse and they haven't run any screens today. Pretty good time right here for either one of those.
Okay, we'll look for it. Oh, here comes the crazy secondary change by the Vikings. They may have too many men on the field. They're trying to get it. Now Blair settles them down. Here's the handoff. Oh, Billy Sims rips right off that right tackle spot. Blair had to make the tackle, and number 20 looked like he was heading for third gear in overdrive. Boy, does he accelerate.
I'll tell you, Matt Blair calls the defensive signals right out there. He was changing people around and make sure everybody was okay and still managed to make this play. Watch him take on the lead block here by Dexter Bussey, number 24. Now, it looks like Bussey's in good shape, but Blair at 6'5" plays him off, reaches out, and makes the stop on Sims. It's good play for an inside linebacker.
And good thing he was there.
He was gonzo.
Sims a stop. That's the end of the third quarter. It's 24-10. Don't go away. Some ball yard here at the Silverdome. 73,058 today's attendance. The no-shows are 4,000. They've had 80,638 in here before, and William Clay Ford has put some place here for football only, and it is luxurious and it's great. The third down. Conversions 1 of 8 so far for Detroit. Danielson hit and dropped. A great pass rush by number 72. That's Duck White. Came right under the blocker.
Danielson dumped by James White.
Charlie Johnson and Duck White were battling for the nose position, but that was some rush by 72. Skladany back to punt. It's a Lone Ranger position, boy, back there to be a kicker. Guess that's Regis wearing number 1. Eddie Payton waiting at the other end. Skladany hits a big one. Oh, this is a big punt. Fair catch by Payton at the 17-yard line.
Payton and a fair catch.
Thompson was down there again, just looking. Fair catch signal. Skladany wins this one. 14:25 left in the final quarter. The first bomb was really exploded by Detroit when Danielson hit Leonard Thompson with a 70-yard touchdown pass, one of the nicest plays we've seen in a couple of seasons.
They had a quarterback controversy here. 2 quarterbacks, Gary Danielson, Terry Kimball. And I know the fans right now are wondering if it's still happening. But Monty Clark told us, no, there's no quarterback controversy. Danielson's the guy.
And the guy we're looking at here is Tommy Kramer. A healthy Tommy Kramer. He can pick a defense apart piece by piece inside over the 20-yard line. Galbraith, Tony Galbraith.
English. Barnes and Gay also on the tackle.
Detroit came in with their defense, I'm sure, anticipating 50 or 60 passes. And the Vikings have run fairly decently. Vikings came in with over an 80-yard rushing average per game. Sometimes you're not looking for it. Those kind of teams can hurt you.
And the coach Grant said that you're foolish if you don't take advantage of what the rules give you. It's a passing game now.
Second down and call it 6. Quick drop, big rush. Kramer's down. Back at the 14-yard line. as Gay and Purifori both poured in on him.
Purifori and Baker, I think. Purifori came from the left side. It made Kramer step up, and then I think it was Al Bubba Baker who made the big hit on him. Let's watch. Purifori will be coming from the right of the screen right here. Taking an outside rush. He'll flush Kramer up in the pocket. Gay was back there also with the hit. Exactly right. You were, Brookie. Way to call him, kid.
Detroit, 4 sacks. Minnesota, 5. That's been a stat they didn't even used to keep when we first started playing. From the shotgun, Kramer on 3rd down and 13. Sam McCullum in the right flat. Short of the first down. There's a flag down in the pocket as English and Bubba Baker are both pointing at the offensive guards and tackles. Looked like a bunch in the schoolroom pointing. Those guys did it on the other side of the class.
Well, they get it sorted out here right now.
So, Mr. English, would you just please get out of my face? That's what Bob Frederick is saying.
Well, he can talk to him. He's the captain.
Can he?
We're supposed to let you anyway.
You can't let a secondary man in those conversations. Not with our microphones around.
Offensive holding 76, and it will be refused, and it'll be 4th down.
Good call by Detroit. Tim Irwin, the mammoth Tennessean, is the one caught for holding. And now the punters are back at it. Greg Coleman coming a little bit late onto the field. And young Robbie Martin is back to take it. Martin has burned some teams with his punt returns this year. There's Martin. Coleman, he's taking his time. He did not hit a good kick. And everybody on the Minnesota bench turned away because it went right over the bench. It's tough being a punter. Nobody but you and the good Lord. We'll return to the Pontiac Silverdome after this word from your local station. In our business, we call it the scenario. Here's what it is. That was an 11-yard punt by Coleman. I am sure the shortest kick of a great punting career. And the Lions had the ball 1st and 10 on the Viking 35. 12:56 left. And a closer ball game than you might think. Danielson has some time. Finds Hill across the middle to the 26-yard line. Make that the 28-yard line. Dennis Johnson hit him there. Dave Hill is still a load.
You know, Billy Sims not having that much of a productive day carrying the ball or catching passes, but watching the right of Danielson here. A blitz coming up. McNeil coming in for the Vikings, and Sims takes him head up. Not for him. Danielson doesn't get this throw off. So he can do a lot of things, number 20.
And I think Davey Hill hid behind the official, too, that time. Looked like he was behind a zebra for a second. That's a big pickup of 7 yards. 2nd down and 3. Reverse motion, and now the flags are flying, and Minnesota may have jumped. They have been penalized a lot today. The Vikings had a lot of penalties coming in. They had 8 or 9, a lot of those on encroachment. "13 penalties for the Vikings. 13 for 85 yards. Not much yards, but 13 that stop you, make you start over.
Offside, defense number 79.
We get the feeling that Minnesota has a great scouting report on the Lions. That little toss right there to Sims, they were back in the backfield. Rufus Best was back there just as Sims got the toss. They really had it read.
You used to do that. You used to
I really like Bud Grant and his staff. They're good.
Good job. Danielson having time and knocked away. Interference is going to be called. The flags are called. John Turner against Mark Nichols, the second-year receiver, looked like he was going to have a touchdown catch. Pretty good pass blocking, too.
He had time. This is This is definitely the killer penalty of all time. This is the killer penalty. Even the coaches who like the passing game, like Bill Walsh, say that the penalty at the spot of the foul should be removed. There should only be 10-yard penalties. Right here, number 27, John Turner, and Nichols. He's got there just a little bit early and had his hands on his back.
That time the Vikings blitzed and the Lions picked it up. Good throw, big penalty. First and goal. You know who it is. That's the record rusher right there, 29, his third of 1982. And he did it in a short time. Right out of Norman, Oklahoma, and the first time they handed the ball, everybody said, oh my gosh. Guess what the Lions have? Eddie Murray now. The holder, of course, is Eric Hipple. It's good. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking a possibility of overtime.
Nothing fancy here, and they've seen it a ton of times here at the Silverdome, as you saw by the visual. Sims with the record now up and over. And the Lions are back in it by a score of 24-17.
35 yards, 2 plays, 57 seconds. 24-17. Petrosati. There's Sims, the touchdown rushing record holder. Nick Petrosati was the former Lion. Scored a few of them over me. I should know that. 2 plays, 35, as we mentioned, yards, with the big play being the interference call against Nichols. The kickoff. Jarvis Redwine. Jarvis Redwine breaks out the open at the 35. One linebacker has a chance, number 51. Redwine is collared at the 15-yard line. What a run back. McNorton finally forced him out of bounds, and Harrell had the long angle that may have cut him back.
Redwine out of Nebraska, his second year, and drafted particularly by the Vikings because of his familiarity with the turf for when they moved inside. Great speed. He was a walk-on in Nebraska. Went out for their practice. They saw the way he could run, and he showed it right here. He gets you about a 4.4, 4.5 40, and on this turf it might be faster than that.
A 76-yard return. His longest before was 24 yards. Now there's some tension showing on the Viking sideline because they need some points. Brown hit hard and dropped at the 15. Fantetti making another tackle. Bud Grant getting the big play when you least expect it from a kickoff return. And Jarvis Redwine supplying it. Crowd is still buzzing though. 11-17 left in this fourth and final period. And we're talking playoff for one of these teams, maybe both. They came in 3-3. Second down 9. Quick drop. Kramer quickly. Sensor at the 6-yard line. I don't believe he has the first down. Hector Gray was there.
Sensor coming off the line of scrimmage now. Inside, then releases back out. Kramer went to him immediately. And he's just a little bit shy of that first down.
And Kramer really hummed it. He came over the top with that one.
Put a hole in most people.
Third down conversions, 8 of 19. Pretty good indication of game plan. Play has been brought in now.
They might go for the whole bundle here instead of just the first down.
Third and maybe a yard. Inside handoff. Brown didn't get much. Didn't get much if he got anything. As Gay makes a good defensive stop.
Gay and English stuffing things up in the middle. And a Minnesota field goal team comes on.
He lost 1.5 yards. And Ted Brown, as we told you earlier, pops in there pretty quickly. Here's Danmeyer. Anything now to sort of stop the Lions' surge, I'm sure, is the Viking feeling. Danmeyer, a straight-ahead kicker. Dills is holding. It's a 25-yard field goal attempt. A lot of booing, but for naught, straight as a string. 9:31 left in this fourth period. It's 27-17. The Lions are still 10 back. Tom Brookshire with Wayne Walker in the Silverdome, a long way from Tiger Stadium or Briggs Stadium, where the people used to freeze to those metal bleachers. But it's great to be back in Detroit, an area that loves professional football. Long the bastion of people that worked hard all week so they could come and watch the Lions play on Sunday. 8 yards in 4 plays. The field goal by Danmeyer from 25 yards thanks to Jarvis Redwine's great kickoff return. Gotta be careful. He'll kick it probably away from Alvin Hall and to Robbie Martin. He's kicking it right at Martin. It's a little short. Martin's going to get this at the 10. Martin gets out over the 27-yard line, and some elbows fly. A 17-yard return. And the Lions got to set up shop in a hurry. Don't forget, tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes, Archie Bunker's Place, Gloria, the Jeffersons, One Day at a Time, and Trapper John M.D.
That's one of your favorites.
Wouldn't miss it.
You told me yesterday it was.
I have an aversion to medical people of any kind. Shrinks, orthopedic surgeons, whatever. A flag is on the field back at the 35-yard line, which is obviously the kickoff spot. So might be a little offsides coming down under the kick. The Lions feel like they can do a lot better with a return than a 17-yarder. They'd like to get something like Jarvis Redwine submitted for the Vikings. It's always a touchy one. You got a ball out there safely and nobody fumbled it or anything.
These guys you're looking at right here always been good on special teams, as we mentioned. And a lot of times the bulk of your special teams work is done on Saturdays, and the Vikings don't even practice on Saturdays anymore, Bergie.
He works them out a little bit on Friday morning, he says, to go walk through the formations and stuff indoors, which is odd for Bud Grant anyway. That's the 15th penalty for 112 yards for Minnesota. Ties a record set against Buffalo. Boy, I'll tell you, the assistant coaches, they'll use that as their whole theme for beating on guys with whips and guns and everything. There your run back people that are getting ready. Martin and Alvin Hall. Hall to the right, Martin to the left. Each is dangerous. Danmeyer getting a little shorter with those kickoffs. Remember, he's kicking from the 30 now, so they may... Oh, Alvin Hall changes positions with Robbie Martin. Let's see if Danmeyer notices.
It's not tilted just quite right. Now he's going to move it over. It wasn't placed just quite right.
Now remember that kickoff return, if you start taking it at about the 15 on the dead run, you can get good field position. There it goes. Now Martin's to the left and Hall's to the right. Danmeyer's going to kick it straight to Martin at the pretty good kick to the 10-yard line from the 30. Martin this time gets a hold, gets the wedge, gets him out to over the 35-yard line to the 36. The battle of wits, and Detroit wins slightly, a 26-yard return. Next Sunday, the CBS doubleheader all starts with Brett and Irv and Phyllis and Jimmy back with the NFL today. Then Detroit at Tampa Bay. That's a must for both teams again. And Green Bay against Atlanta, followed by Chicago against the Rams. They've always hated one another. And Philadelphia, Dallas, there may not be anybody alive after that game. Here we've got 9:12 on the clock and 10 points separating these two. Danielson, drop, inside, good catch. Leonard Thompson into Viking territory. And I mean, that was a tough catch.
Good catch, good throw. Number 39, Leonard Thompson, having a big day. He caught the strike from Danielson early in the ball game. This ball right on the money. Went to that short pass, the short post pattern. The quarterbacks like to throw this one. Fitted it right in there in between zones.
A tough catch. First he had the one over his head, the 70-yard bomb from Danielson, and this may have been a tougher catch for shorter yardage. First down on the 47. Danielson being rushed, being dropped by number 75, Holloway.
Danielson sacked by Holloway.
And that's against Dorney.
Going against a tough guy, Keith Dorney, who they feel is their best offensive lineman. We saw him perhaps a week or so ago in that game against the Jets. Handled Mark Gastineau as well as anybody's done it for 2 years. Holloway right over the top of number 70, Dorney, on that one.
Dorney from Penn State. Of course, Holloway from Pittsburgh. There's no love there either all the way through their intercollegiate days. Mosley with his 21st consecutive field goal. And those Redskins are on top of the Giants by a point in the fourth. Danielson. Second and long. Oh, what a great tackle on Sims. As Scott Studwell, number 55, makes a tremendous open field tackle.
Boy, Mosley's field goal just came with 4 seconds left. Bricky,
Not much
21
time
for him.
Studwell broke all of Dick Butkus's tackling records, didn't he?
At Illinois.
At Illinois.
I think he had the season record, Brookie. I don't think he had the career record.
Nobody played with pain better than Dick Butkus. He was always taped
or induced it.
7:21 left. A big play now if the Lions are going to get into it. It's 3rd and 25. Flags are down. Freddie Scott has it at the 30-yard line and down to the 28, but the flags are down. Flags are down. Around the pass protection.
It's in that area where you would think it would be on the offensive line of the Lions.
Danielson tells you the story with that shrug of the shoulders, dropping the head. A good strike, a good pass, and Scott made a great reception. Bob Frederick.
Offensive holding, number 61, 3rd down.
Elias.
3rd and 32 from the Detroit 30.
There it is again. Who'd they call it on, Brookie? I didn't hear
Elias,
that.
Elias,
the right guard right there.
Oh, he tackled somebody behind.
Pulled down Mulaney, number 77, pulled him down from behind.
Detroit is 1 of 9 on 3rd down conversions. This is 3rd and so much we can't count that high. Scott battling for the ball, incomplete at the 45. It's Terry Hannon, who's really played well today, went up and batted it away. Might not have been a bad time to come with that good screen to Sims or somebody, huh? The Redskins roll toward those playoffs. A lot of formations, and they've got the field goal kicker. 15-14 over the Giants. Skladany's punt. This is a tremendous punt. The Buckeye sends Coleman back to the 24. I mean, Peyton, pardon me. Peyton gets out to the 35. Horace King makes a tackle. And now with 6:47 left, the Lions have got to play Big D and get a turnover. It's 27-17. Less than 7 minutes remaining, 27-17. The first bomb was thrown by Detroit, a 70-yard touchdown. The second quarter was all Minnesota. Third period was sort of Detroit's with 10 points, and now the fourth quarter may settle down to whether the Vikings can have any kind of rushing ball control and eat up the clock. They're going to try. Galbraith sliding outside, picks up about 3.5. And the Lions are trying to steal the ball. Fantetti that time in their jerkin.
Galbraith a toughie to take it from, though. Big, strong guy. Used to be with New Orleans. When they got him and he came here, he was a little bit like David Hill. He was a touch overweight, but in the offseason, he got himself in shape and ready to play Minnesota-style football now.
The Lions, of course, will not. Art Kramer, he does continue to baffle you, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. He is quick. I mentioned last year that the mobility was cut down somewhat with the knee injury. He wore a brace all season. Play action right there. Gets everybody up front to bite. There's no containment at all. They're getting some blocks. And Kramer turned it upfield and made good yardage before Watkins, the rookie, came up and made the stop.
5:33 on the clock. It's ticking off. Johnny Michaels told me last night this is one of the things when you don't run the ball a lot that you have trouble doing. But so far they look like they're coming out of their blocks pretty decently. Look at those third down conversions. And this is for inches. Easily a first down off the left side. Tony Galbraith behind Riley and Huff. Remember, the offensive line, the more effective they are blocking for the rushing game, the longer they have to play. And for some reason, that's what they like the most when they're out there for long drives and they're just slugging away at those guys.
They like to get it going for those 4 and 5 yards. Sometimes pop it for 6 and 7. The guards love to pull and go out and hit the 180-pound cornerbacks and go up and down the field that way.
And defensive players are entirely different. They want to get 3 plays, steal the ball, and get out there and sit down. 1st and 10. 4:37 on the clock. Crossbuck handoff. Young gets into Detroit territory by about a yard. I remember the story they tell about Ricky Young and Wilbert Montgomery went down to go to school there, where the coach said, "I'd like to play you, Wilbert, but I got 2 guys in the backfield that are pretty good. One of them is Walter Payton, the other is Ricky Young." So Wilbert Montgomery said, "I'm going to sit on the bench for 2 years. I better go somewhere else to play."
I liked what Ricky Young said last week about Bud Grant's halftime talk. He said, "He got my attention and I hadn't even been in a game yet."
Yes, they said Bud was a little bit irate.
Yeah.
Huh? 2nd down and 5. 3:51 on the clock. Straight ahead. Galbraith diving to the 42-yard line. Short of the first, but a lot of yardage coming out of there. Now the flags are down. There may have been holding here. There is offensive holding. The Silver Rush has been handled pretty well by that offensive line. Bob Frederick and company are going to do their magic. Back to the 42.
Offensive holding, number 61.
What's kind of funny, wasn't it, Brookie, that the Minnesota people weren't too impressed with the 9 Detroit sacks on Green Bay last week. They said, you know, when we played them, we got 7.
That was Wes Hamilton holding. St. Louis a final. Beating the Bears, I'm sure, in a bitter battle, 10-7. Philadelphia handling Earl Campbell. Of course, they're not giving the ball to Brother Earl very much. Can't understand that. 2nd down and 16. Wow, quick movement off the ball. It looked like the Vikings may have jumped. The Lions have them trapped back at the 40-yard line. Ted Brown really drew a crowd. Illegal procedure, Vikings. 3:37 on the clock. Detroit has got to get the ball back. They got to think touchdown, field goal, overtime, and they win it in overtime. Remember, 4 wins get you pretty close to a playoff. 3 wins just keep you hanging for next week all the time. The rest of Detroit's schedule.
Illegal motion, number 78 on the offense, refused.
And Tampa Bay. Monty Clark said if they would have played the entire 16-game schedule, Brookie, and they would have come down to this game, they'd still have to do the same thing they would have had to done with 16 games. Beat Minnesota, Green Bay, and Tampa.
Same old division rivalries, huh? I guess that's the way football should be. It's a year of opportunity if you can do it. Go all the way to that Super Bowl. They're like $68,000 in prize money. 3rd down call. Here's the toss. Back to Brown. Brown's cut off. Now he's going to go back to where he potentially went for. Loses a shoe. And now the Lions burn one of their timeouts. Fantetti making the tackle there. .328 on the clock.
Called a team timeout. That is their first one. They have 2 remaining.
10-point lead. May get close yet. Monty Clark's got to get the offense going. Coleman's going to punt on 4th and 15. Robbie Martin accepting it, but the Lions with 3:28 left and 2 timeouts, they've got to get 7 points on this possession. see what they're doing, trying to block a punt. Coleman's looking around to see where they're all going to be coming from. Got 10 men close to that line of scrimmage, and they all 10 come. Coleman gets all of a sudden another bad punt. Away from Martin. It takes a pretty good kick down the rug, and looks like it'll be around the 20-yard line. The rush game, Coleman got it off. Don't forget Christmas Day. NCAA action with the blue against the gray. It's a great 45th blue-gray game from Montgomery, Alabama. I think Tommy Kramer played in that game.
He did.
Side of the gray, I'm sure of that, since he played it collegiate ball at Rice. And right after that, of course, is North Carolina with Bryant, who's one of the great sprinters that's been playing football against Texas, and they're all fast and tough. That's in El Paso, the Sun Bowl. I'd go down there just to see what was going to happen. Danielson on his first throw, outside to Scott. Did he trap it or catch it? A trap. Both officials, one behind, but the one looking right into the catch said, sorry, number 87, looked like she skidded. Scott runs pretty good patterns, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Very dependable receiver.
Thought he had it, but the number 7, the line judge, number 17, was looking right into the reception and said no.
Here's the end of it right here. They usually don't miss on that. We couldn't tell from that angle, but you got to take their word. They don't miss that call very often.
Second down 10. Danielson is sprinting out of the pocket. Now he sets up. Ooh, he finds Billy Sims across the middle, and Sims runs into a lot of problems as Matt Blair drills him. Like Big Holloway is down back at the 4-yard line. Dorney, his opponent most of the afternoon, just checking to make sure it's nothing serious.
Well, he may have been smoked by his own man, because number 77, Mark Mullaney, was back there coming about 60 miles an hour from one direction.
I see Dorney and Mullaney are sort of discussing that, yeah. Dorney and he are talking about that as Mullaney comes over. Those big bodies start laying out, trying for sacks and all that, and it's amazing that they're not more injuries, I guess. Detroit is 1 of 10 on third down conversions. Hey, look, big fella looks like he's going to be all right. Andy Holloway, yeah, he's walking it off a little bit, and they're letting him, so it's not going to be too serious.
3rd and 10.
There it is again. Let's see, there's a lot of traffic back there as Danielson rolls out. Number 75 is Holloway. Rolls around him, and gosh, he just did it on the turf.
Just came down on that. It's very cohesive. With those good shoes they make these days, sometimes it's almost too firm. Here's that third down, and it's a tough one. Danielson with 3:05 left. Oh, finds a receiver who has jolted and drops it, but they're going to call it incomplete. Leonard Thompson was really hit. And Hannon is still down on the ground. 3 people came together with a crash.
Once again, the ball in there. Leonard Thompson had a hold of it, and just a big hit by Hannon brought him off.
Means those defensive backs are reading, and when they see the quarterback cut it loose, they're just going right to the spot.
Been some good hits out there today in that defensive secondary, both ways. Remember, we lost Ahmad Rashad earlier in this ball game. He fractured a transverse process of his back. That's those little nubs along the spine. And a lot of guys that happen to, they're painful, not serious, just painful. He's going to have to cut down on his tennis game. I know that for a couple of weeks.
And Jimmy Hunter also left with a jammed neck of some kind, the defensive cornerback.
Here it is right here. Watch Hannon, number 45. He's coming in here sailing. There's the hit that brought Thompson off the football.
Hannon was going in a little bit high. They're supposed to stay away from that head area. He's the one that was shaken up. Got to keep the flippers down anymore. Skladany is going to come in. Let's see. No, he's coming off. Skladany is coming off. Bill Friel, my expert spotter, has picked it out. Gary Danielson is back in. Leonard Thompson is back in. It's a 3-minute type warning, but the Lions got to have this one. 10 points down with 3 minutes left. Both backs are out. Danielson has time. Scott across the middle. Scott breaks the tackle and gets to the 45-yard line of Minnesota. What a throw, and under such pressure, and Scott made the catch. Keith Nord barely tracked him down. Hurry up now so they don't use their timeouts. They've got 2 left. A 41-yard reception by Scott. The rush is on. Good protection. Danielson going for Scott. Was he pushed out of bounds? If he wasn't pushed, would he have caught it and come down inbounds? Official says no.
Danielson's pass to Scott.
Well, you can tell at this stage of the game, Tommy, can't you, that Danielson has a lot more confidence in Scott, I think, than any of his other wide receivers, as he's gone to him consistently. Just 1 foot out of bounds. He was close to getting them both in. And Swain over there right with him.
Still juggling a little bit, probably is what the officials saw. Heck of an effort by Scott. Danielson, 13 of 27. 229 now. Danielson, oh, he throws it. It hangs up. Leonard Thompson knocks it away from being intercepted at the 7-yard line. Swain had a pretty good shot at it.
A funny looking throw. It looked like he was looking over at the left, and right at the last minute decided to air it out down the middle, and I'm not sure he got a good look down there.
Slipped out of his hand because he threw the 70-yard touchdown bomb earlier to Leonard, and it was a very tight spiral and a strong arm delivery. That may have just slipped a little bit.
Leonard Thompson did a fine job on that pass play by leaping up and getting a hand on it, providing an interception.
Big play, 2:19 left. They can use the 2-minute warning for 1 timeout. 3rd down and 10. Danielson he fumbles the football, picked up by Charlie Johnson. Charlie Johnson, number 65, is going to score. And Danielson was hit by Doug Martin. And Charlie Johnson rambles in. Johnson usually isn't in on passing situations.
No, usually, but he was that time because Holloway was injured before. Doug Martin, number 79, a gigantic hit on Danielson like he was shot out of a cannon. He got in almost like he was untouched. Took an inside rush or where they had a stun on. I didn't see it. But boy, did he deliver a blow on Danielson. Danielson was down for about 30 seconds after that, and the first guy to run out there to see if he was okay was Eric Hipple.
A 44-yard touchdown scamper by 270-pound Charlie Johnson. He had 3 interceptions one year for the Eagles. It's in there. That's a nail with 2:08 left. The Vikings go up on that scoreboard.
Martin will come from the left of your screen. Outside rush on Dorney. Dorney put his head down, and Martin beats him to the outside. And look at the shot that Danielson took. It looked like Alexis Arguello taking shots from Aaron Pryor right there. Johnson gets it, and he's untouched into the end zone, and a big thrill for him.
And Duck White made the convoy possible. He made sure nobody caught him from behind.
Well, this was some shot. Danielson never saw him.
Martin and Holloway both played extremely well at the left defensive end. Everybody stunned a little bit.
Charlie Johnson was a tight end in junior college. That's probably his longest run since then.
That's right. Trinidad JC, I think, in Colorado somewhere. Remember, he just came for a draft choice. I believe it was a 2nd or 3rd round choice. That's got to be one of the great moves you'll make, because Bud Grant said he's my kind of player. He wants to work at it. There he is on the bench. The group all talking to Charlie. He may buy steak dinners all around. There's Duck White. They've been competing for that starting nose job, but nothing like a handshake between 2 scoring people. He's thinking about the good goose hunting that he's going to have.
That's just another day at the office for him.
It's another Super Bowl, and he'll go right back to the house. Everybody's leaving. They're going to the parking lot. The Lions have given it a shot. The Vikings just been too much. Good return, good coverage by number 49 as King is pulled down. That's Keith Nord, who's doing a heck of a job on those special teams. Used to be a starting secondary man. There's the numbers. 34-17 with 2 minutes left. It was close some of the way. Vikings have opened it up. Now Wayne Walker, that defensive line has done sub-job. 7 sacks of Danielson.
Not only 7 sacks on Gary, but Detroit's had several offensive holding calls. So they have been the dominant factor in this ball game today. Coming in, a lot of people thought it would be the Silver Rush, but it wasn't. It was the rebirth of the Purple People Eaters over on the other side.
Sims with 21 yards on 17 carries. Here's a pass to Hill for short yardage and out of bounds. 1:54 left. 2 timeouts still on the Lions side of the ledger. They will be perhaps 3 and 4 unless something comes, out of an orange-colored sky and strikes us all.
They got Baldishweiler in there who used to start at the left tackle spot until he lost his job a week ago. After Danielson got hurt, they yanked Dorney and put in Baldishweiler at right tackle.
Sometimes wonder if perhaps there's an injury that he tried to play with part of the game. It happens. Danielson stayed in there trying for Scott. There was so much traffic through there. Looked like rush hour in Manhattan.
You got to give number 16 some credit from being on his feet and still out there playing after taking that shot that Martin laid on him. Danielson, we had dinner with him the other night, Tom. I don't like to talk much about those kinds of things, but you got a chance to meet him, and he's just a real nice guy.
Sure is. And a quarterback these days with the focus of attention that people like you and I put on him and all, everybody knows him, and you can't hide on Monday or Tuesday or any time. Danielson dumps it off. Good pass. Dexter Bussey making the reception into Viking territory. Good scramble job. Detroit's rushed for a total of 34 yards today. They came in averaging 123 yards a game. Underthrown, coming across the middle was Leonard Thompson. Now the Vikings will play out the rest of their schedule. They've got the New York Jets, Dallas Cowboys. Are those teams?
They'll be there. I just believe they'll be there at the end. Yep. I just do. I don't think it makes a difference who they play. The guy that's over there on their sideline in that white shirt right there, I just had a feeling all these years, and boy, they put a lot of lumps on me. I just had a feeling all these years that up here in this division, the Central Division, he just flat out coached everybody.
He's something, isn't he? When he was at Minnesota, he had 9 varsity letters. That's about as many sports as they had. He had them in all of them. Baseball, basketball, a little bit of football. Here's Hill making a good catch inside the 35. They'll use one of the timeouts. No, they did not use the timeouts. They're just 1:04 on the clock. Danielson straight back. Going across the middle to Leonard Thompson. Thompson inside the 10 to the 7-yard line. 53 seconds. 2 timeouts still left. There's one of them. 1 timeout left for Detroit. Don't forget next week. It all starts with the studio back in New York. They light it up and let you know what's going on with Brandon Irv and Jimmy the Greek and Phyllis. Boy, does she look great these days. That's the NFL today. Detroit at Tampa Bay. Don't get me in trouble, boy. Green Bay at Atlanta. And the second part of that, of course, we shift to Chicago at the Los Angeles Rams. And the Eagles go against the Cowboys. 2 traditional rivals, I guess. Most of the people are gone. We did have 50 some odd thousand people here today. 73,000, pardon me, and 58 were here. Being a head coach is no easy job in this league either, is it? As Joe Schmidt told you.
No, you kind of wonder, don't you, that guys love the game and You mentioned the top of the show. Monty said in all the years he's been in football, he's never been so humiliated as he was that Monday night game against the Jets. And just because of the performance of, 45 other guys that you don't have control over, really.
The only time he smiled, when we talked with him, you asked him about how his son is doing and everything, and does he talk to him? And that's the only time he sort of said, oh, yeah, it was really fun to talk to him. I talked to him once a week. And, of course, his boy's a fine young quarterback, isn't he?
Glenn, third quarterback for the 49ers, had a real good preseason, won a ball game for the 49ers in preseason in the last couple of minutes.
The strike sort of hurt everybody. Some teams were perhaps more vocal than others or more high profile. Looks like everybody's back to sort of playing football now and heading for the playoffs. Danielson with 50 seconds left, going for the corner, overthrowing Scott. I just saw a sign over there that said Georgia Bulldogs #1 and the U.S. Army. They're the people that do more before 9 o'clock than most people do in the whole day, right?
Exactly.
The fans are involved again. That's important, too. Remember Bud Grant was sort of worried about that the people wouldn't maybe come back with that enthusiasm? Danielson's been sacked 7 times. Still in there. Throws it for Hill, I believe, down about the 1. Bill Frio, my spotter, says it was Mulaney in his face that time.
Mulaney all over him. It was inside his jersey just about.
Now the nickel secondary people start coming in. It was a tough dressing room to walk out of after you've been whipped at home, huh? Right now it's 34-17. Danielson touchdown. Horace King making the catch, swinging out of the backfield. That even brings a few boos.
Not too many people around to see that last score by the Lions.
A touchdown pass, the first pass he threw, a 70-yard bomb, and finally this one, huh?
King out of the backfield, both backs out, little circle pattern over the middle. And Danielson on the money with it. We're going to see an extra point and an onside kick.
Murray's kick is good.
The kick is good.
Back to 10 points. 34-24. And the onside kick. Now Murray, does he practice a run where he kicks it and recovers his own like the Raiders did against the Rams?
In the game yesterday, we saw him practicing about 3 different types of onside kicks. Squib it both ways and then just kind of drag bunt it up the middle.
You really feel sorry for coaches when that's the pivotal thing, like Malavasi yesterday. Looked like he had a 1 with his field goal and everything. Then the Raiders came back with the other length of the field anyway and put it away.
Well, we had a pretty good second half considering the score at halftime on this one, 24-7. The Lions made a fairly good comeback, but you could just see it all go flat, can you, for them when Jarvis Redwine ran that kickoff back.
You know, Bud Grant was saying something I thought was interesting, but he said there are no super teams anymore, that everybody is playing at a pretty high level, and you don't know really how it's going to turn out whether you're playing anybody.
We should have brought that out earlier. He said you just don't have the physical advantage over people that you used to have, and I know he was talking about those Carl Eller, Alan Page, Jim Marshall days. He said all the teams are so close right now that it's tougher to coach. It's a tougher coaching job.
He stays pretty steady, though, you know. I guess you have to be in the business as long as he's been at it. It's like Landry. When it's over, it's over.
Now here what they've got. They're going to get a running, sprinting start at this one. This is one of their onside kicks.
Oh, he got it.
That's Mark. Can't advance it though.
No, that's Robbie Martin.
Cannot advance it.
All they can get is possession unless it's been touched by the receiving team, huh? That's the darndest thing I've ever seen.
That's their sprinter start. They worked that one to that side. They've got it to the other side in the drag bunt. Good kick here by Murray. The object is to get the ball bouncing over the top, and it'll take a high kick, and hopefully one of your guys will get it. And there it was, Robbie Martin, number 83, but they'll have to bring it back.
Sort of sculled it like a 2-iron. You just close it down a little bit.
There's Murray. He likes it.
That Robbie Martin's a pretty good player, too. He gives you everything he's got. Look at that.
All right.
Pulled a string on it.
That's a Butch Johnson move there.
34 seconds left, and the score is 34-24. Danielson going deep. They're going for the alley-oop. 3 line receivers. He caught it. Leonard Thompson caught it at the 2-yard line. Leonard Thompson caught it at the 2.
Same thing the Vikings ran at the end of the first half. 3 wide receivers on one side. Danielson throws it up just like Kramer did. That one was tipped around, but Leonard Thompson just went up and took this one in.
The Quinella, the 3 receivers ran down. There must have been 5 Vikings close. 4. What a grab by Thompson.
You know, I think being a defensive player, and you were too, Tommy, what you might have a tendency to do on that play is, you know, not go for the ball, kind of wait around looking for the tip, and you end up playing it soft, and that could happen to you a little bit.
Remember, R.C. Owens tried that one time against us, and if we hadn't mugged him when he came down to the ground, it was a touch. We waited till he came down. In those days, you could get away with some of that.
Should read 19 seconds. 19 seconds of the correct information.
No timeouts for Detroit, but a touchdown here puts you back in the same situation. The onside type kick by Murray, and still probably 10 seconds would be left. And Murray can hit it from 50. He's not a strong kicker as Wayne Walker, my cohort here, but he can hit him from 50 yards.
He's a touch straighter, though.
It wasn't how long as how wide the fairway was. Minnesota with 3 timeouts. Lions have to score quickly. The pass, touchdown. Leonard Thompson's touchdown. People who stayed, this is a bonus.
Well, I know it, and you know what? There's really no way the Lions can win this ball game, Tom, but did you see number 20, Billy Sims, put the fake on that? He dove over the line again, just like he did on his previous touchdown, and there's a game right now that's down the tube for the Lions, and their highest paid player still doing that kind of stuff. Speaks well for him.
The drive, 2 plays, 48 yards. The big one, the 46-yard jumping catch by Leonard.
Look at the fake Sims puts on here out of the I formation like he's got it. He's over the top, takes 2 good shots, and then Danielson floats it out to a wide-open Thompson.
Now, I saw Sparky Anderson, the Tigers manager. You better get his infield in here. This is going to be the craziest onside kick. How many ways can you do it?
Well, I'll bet you they do it a different way. I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled that little drag bunt thing down the middle that worked yesterday in yesterday's ball game.
Well, am I glad this game is close like this now, and we've got a contest. 16 seconds, 3 points.
Now, what they have to, if they do the same thing again, you've seen how that one works. If he drag bunts it down the middle, what they'll have to do is send the 2 guys next to Murray after the point man for the Vikings to kind of clear them off the ball. It's legal to throw a block downfield.
Look at that. That's the craziest formation I've ever seen in football.
So it looks like they'll probably go that way again with all the Vikings up there just 10 yards away.
There are 10 players to the left formation side of the kicker. Would he kick it back this direction? The flags are down. They touched it before it went 10 yards. I believe it's an illegal touch by Detroit, but a heck of a try. You ever seen so much ripping and fur flying in your life?
There were some bodies flying around, that's for sure.
Mike Burks, our producer, says the caveman division.
Well, that's what I used to call it when we were playing all those games outdoors, you know. We couldn't play in here. It would be muddy. That would have been a caveman game today if it had been played down at Tiger Stadium. Everybody would have been muddy. We wouldn't be able to tell who everyone was.
Illegal short free kick will be refused. Minnesota recovered. First down.
34-31. Another good, decent, gusty boo. 34-31, 16 seconds. Boy, they gave it a heck of a shot.
There it is again now. We'll see it didn't go 10 before it was touched by a player in blue over there. Actually bounced up and hit him. That's the great thing about that ball.
Who is that?
It doesn't always go where you want it. And look at that.
Just sit down on it. Remember, we saw the 49ers come out with a play-action pass out of one of these against St. Louis. That's going to be it. And it did turn out to be a battle, didn't it? And those injuries are not serious to Jimmy Hunter or to Ahmad Rashad, we're told, which is really probably the biggest and best news. And the Vikings have gone 4 wins and 3 losses. And darn if they don't just hang in there with the best. Detroit goes 3-4. Still with a chance, but much dimmer than they once were. Executive producer has been Terry O'Neill. Senior producer Charles H. Milton III. Produced by Michael Burks. Thanks for dinner on Friday night, Michael. Directed by Peter Bleckner. Done his usual great job of picking out the people and the action. Bob Mattina, Lance Barrow, who we've given the job of organizing buffets on the road and driving our cars to airports, and all the people that have made it so great. And I'll tell you, this turned out to be a heck of a contest. The first big pass of the game was the 80-yard bomb to Thompson, and he came back and got another great catch. So Leonard Thompson is back. Don't forget, scores and highlights back in New York City. Brett and Irv got the studio lit up. So let's go to New York right now.